and it is called Call Me Under. Let me just turn the music down a little bit. We want ambiance and background noise, but we don't want, we don't want it overpowering me or if there's any music in this game, because I don't know if there's any music. So it's called Call Me Under, and it is an LGBTQA plus 1950s visual novel by a gaming company called Lunaris Games. I'm big excited about this. It is supposed to have voice acting, I believe. The vinyl game will be voice, so I don't know what we're walking into today. Either way, I'm super excited about it. Like, this is one of those treats where, like, you back a Kickstarter and then you're like, oh my god, like, what is this? And this is just a demo and I'm already excited. So I have no idea how this is gonna run. Nothing. I am going into this completely unawares, completely ignorant. I'm gonna leave the music on in the background. If it's too much or not enough, let me know. Otherwise, we're gonna get started. It's after 8 o'clock. I waited till 8 o'clock to get started, so we're gonna go. Let's go. Click to begin. Ooh, there is music. Okay, I like the music. Excuse me, the music is amazing. Hold on, let's go into settings. I'm gonna leave it windowed because it's easier for me. Let's turn down the music just a smidge. Let's see. So, quick sees look at the credits because I love to give credit where credit is due. A+ job on this music. Darrell Etienne? I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, and I will look it up and make sure I get the right pronunciation, but look, like, amazing job. I feel like it's louder than I am though, so let me just smidge. Which is remarkable achievement considering I was born without volume control. So, I'm already excited. The music, just the look at these hot people. It's Pride Month starting tomorrow. Oh my god. Y'all. Okay, let's start. I probably should have marked this stream as not suitable for work, or 18 plus. Yes, Arlo, hot people, I'm big excited. But you know what? It's fine. Also, some scenes may contain mild flashing images, so please, if you're sensitive to that, maybe don't watch. Maybe don't watch. If any minors wander in, it's their own fault. Yeah, maybe. I need to turn this down just a smidge. Can you hear it okay, Arlo? Let me know. You're my good baseline because you're hard of hearing.
The beginning was bathed in darkness. The beginning was darkness. Its form and its home, the most basic state of being. The inkwell from which flesh was shaped, minds were made, and dreams were born. We began in the shadows. They nourished us, caressed us, gave us life. But greedy hearts demanded more. Separation, independence, a self free from the roots, colors split from the inkwell, and a new perspective, a new meaning was born. And so began the tale of our Creator's downfall. But I'm sure you know that already, right? How the skies formed their legions and drove the shadows to the bottom of the dark and terrible ocean. simple fable. A great and uncomplicated way to explain the universe to young, impressionable minds. Tell me, do they recount this tale with your bedside lamp turned on, so you don't feel the fear creeping in? Do they make the monsters with their hands in that light, so you know that there's nothing in the darkness but evil? Have you ever felt just that tiny sliver of doubt that maybe they lied?
Holy shit, I'm so excited for this game. Ah! Oh my god. Okay. 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 That is all the settings I have. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. On stream, I will play as a human, and then when I undoubtedly get the urge to... No. See, on stream, I play the human so that I can play the other one for my own enjoyment, because I love streaming, but I am doing this out of my own free time. Until I start making money from this, you're not getting all the good stuff, okay? Okay. I will not play the human. I will leave that for my own personal playthrough, which is probably better, because then, you know, self-insert, because I am not above inserting myself in a game. So, let's see. I don't know how to pronounce this, and I'm not going to try, mostly because I will probably do it wrong. But I'm sure we'll find out as we go in. I don't know how much is voice acted and how much is not, so we'll see. Your story began long before you came into this world, when your relatives escaped the watery grip of Styx through unknown means to start a new life on this surface. The call of the shadows, however, is inescapable for a half-blood like you. It swells in you like a deafening melody, calling you home, back into the sea, to the place that the light cannot reach, into Styx. Whispers your mind can't decipher plague you, but your soul remembers. You've been able to forget that you aren't necessarily in Styx of your own free will. However, you'll need to wake up soon and start asking questions before the deep starts to consume you. Settling into a new city can be a real headache. And then we have this little letter over here. Fresh blood from the surface, a few prior convictions, but nothing I can't work with. Reason for Annie acquiring them is unknown, but seemingly a decent decision on her part. Hello, my love. My first impressions are good, but I'll refrain from forming any solid opinions until after we've gotten into the nasty shit. Here's hoping it works out better than the last time. P. Sinclair. I have so many questions. Okay. I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't know. What? Arlo, what was that game you were playing? No, it's not Lunky. I knew you were gonna say that. What was that game? When the what? I can't remember. Last night is a blur of epic proportions. When the night comes. That's what I was trying to find out. Is that the same people who made this? Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Cool beans. So we already know the people are going to be hot. I need to try and stay awake. Let's see, Scott and Sinclair investigations. Because of course I'm not me unless I'm looking at everything. What's this over here? Okay, sorry. Not an easy feat when exhaustion is tugging at the edge of my mind, the only thing keeping my eyes open being the whirring of the ribbon of my trusty typewriter as my fingers move mindlessly over the keys. Why was last night a blur? Because this whole weekend has been a blur. I was trying to stay up late because Nick, who has been in my stream previously, it's her birthday today, so she was streaming last night. But I legitimately don't remember much after like 10:30. I think I fell asleep. So anyway, also I don't know what happened Monday. I put the baby to bed and I was like, all right, I have time to chill out before stream, and then I lost the plot. The plot was lost to me. Anyway, so to catch you up, in case you don't know, this is called Call Me Under. It's an LGBTQIA+ visual novel set in the 1950s, made by Lunaris Games. And I actually want to try real quick because I think... Yes. There we go. I set up a fun little command for that. And I do want to see... I did set up some timed commands, so I'm waiting to see if those pop up too as well. Kind of trying new things all day today. I hope you all have fun. Alright, back to the story. Well, that and the sound of my boss, Penelope Sinclair, rustling around in her office a few steps away. Occasionally, I hear the clinking of glass, too, of drink after drink being poured. I gather she's having a rough night, too. There's been plenty of those around here lately. I glance at the clock and register that it's barely 7. The boss is going to have one hell of a hangover tomorrow. Again. Okay. I stare at the sad, solitary line I've managed to type up in the last half hour, wondering that if I look long and hard enough, will the rest of the transcript just manifest? That doesn't happen, of course, but it does make me realize that I've made a spelling error. Not easy to undo on those 1950s typewriters. Frustrated, I tear the paper out of the roller and crumple it up, tossing it in the direction of the nearby trash can. I miss, because of course I do. I start fresh, typing the same old words I could probably type out in my sleep with my hands tied behind my back at this point. Missing. Kidnapped. Presumed dead. Dismembered. Dismembered, Jesus. Grim stuff, but it's our new harsh reality, and seemingly the norm here in Styx lately. I try not to fixate too much on the names and the details, but there's a low whistle behind me. Penny. Not Penelope, Penny. Hey, you done yet? I thought you were supposed to be fast. I don't have all night, you know. Let's go the CFC route. Got any spare brain juice? Maybe if you'd be so kind as to grease my brain gears with whatever booze you're greasing yours with, I might go a little faster. That's a little sassier than they made it sound like. I'm just throwing that out there. Penny eyes me like nice try, then moves to retreat back into her den with a shake of her head. Maybe I shouldn't be quite so bold with my cantankerous employer, who happens to be a private investigator at this hour and in these tense circumstances. Especially when things haven't been going well for poor, hard-working Penny as of late. Scott and Sinclair Investigations, the door to her office declares, but it's been missing the Scott for a few weeks now, namely Annie Scott, Penny's partner in solving crime, and one of the unlucky citizens who went missing recently. I don't think Penny's caught a wink of sleep since, and my relationship with my pillow has been on shaky terms recently. Too recently, thanks to the amount of work that seems to be piling up and piling, and... Shaking my head, I press play on the tape recorder and get ready to type. But what did you see? You say you blacked out after she was taken. You must have caught a look at the guy's face. That's the thing, though. That wasn't no guy, wasn't no human. Yeah, you said that already, but it isn't like we have much in the way of humans down here, so help me out. Be more specific. It wasn't one of them, either. It was... I switch off the tape just in time for the rumbling that gently rattles my desk to intensify. The light overhead swings and flickers dangerously, and my glass of water jumps closer to the edge of my desk. I just barely manage to grab it in time. The ambiance noise! I don't know if y'all can hear it, but oh my god! With headphones, if you get this game, you have to play it with headphones. I love it so much. Okay. Hold on. My thing is being... There we go. Can't yell at me now. The quake stops abruptly. Is it me, or did that one feel more violent? Penny has reappeared amidst the unwelcome distraction. She stands in the doorway, tugging on a pair of well-worn heels, her coat draped under one arm. She looks unconcerned that the ocean floor just shook us like the fish in a bowl that we are. Oh my god, I love this. I love this so much. Okay. It's gonna be a long night, because I don't know if I can stop playing this. Something like that. She squints at me. I suppose you might be a little less bothered than us humans, huh? Your sea legs are surely sturdier than mine. Oh, so we playing like a monster? I wouldn't go that far. Still getting used to being back, and it's not like my memories of this place are crystal clear. So that's like a thing? Is that like a thing in all these games? Lunaris Games, I'm gonna have to send them some money if they have any left over for my paycheck. I'd see that as a blessing. Besides, nothing can send Styx tumbling. Famous last words. Famous last words. With a sigh, Penny seems to reconsider her statement. Well, not from the outside, anyway. Sorry, my blankie's stuck. Okay. So I can get closer. Okay. Smirking mirthlessly, Penny throws on her coat. She strides towards the door with purpose, clearly not interested in hanging around to wait for me to finish. Go home and rest when you're done with that one. I need you here bright and early tomorrow, understand? Oh, and lock up for me, will ya? And then she's out of the door and disappearing into the early evening atrium crowds before I can even think about responding. I hear the familiar soft flick of her lighter before her footsteps resume and fade away. Now that I'm officially alone with my transcription, well, I pinch the bridge of my nose and hunch over my typewriter once more. Okay, Erlo, have fun doing work. I will be here reading this novel. You're welcome. Almost there. Just think about climbing into bed. Then it happens again. Shake, rattle, and roll. The ambiance noise. I love it so much. Another quake. This time it's like a hammer slamming against fragile glass, the entire room shaking with the force of it and rattling me so hard I nearly fall out of my chair. I hear something shattering, not sure if it's in here or outside, but I don't stick around to find out. I need to go. With my heart in my throat, I stumble for the door, trying desperately to remember what I'm supposed to do in case of a quake. This fucking city. Out in the atrium. Oh my god, it's so pretty! Stop it! The hell? I don't know if I'm jealous or in awe or a little bit of everything. Okay, out in the atrium, I stumble into utter pandemonium. It's so good. It's so good. Panicked people flood the avenue, pouring from the shops, a loud and anxious river swimming under the local establishment's bright neon signs. Right? Ooh. That's a good Monster of the Week idea. That's a good Monster of the Week idea. I have to write it down or else I'm gonna forget. I have to write it down or else I'm gonna forget. I have to write it down or else I'm gonna forget. Write it down on a Chiquita one. Sorry. Pause. Okay. I've wrote it down. I wrote it down. I also have snacks for myself too. It does only benefit you. Don't tell the boys though. Okay. There's a stampede of them moving in the direction of the exits to the other areas of the city, and it feels like the world is about to end. I look up at the ceiling and the murky seabed outside, expecting to see cracks forming in the thick glass. Is this it? I've barely been here a month after all the dreams and nasty little whispers that lured me back, and this is how it ends? Then I feel a shadow looming over me. Not a physical shadow, nothing that I can see or hear or touch, but I know it's there. I felt it there as something pressing closer, closer. For one dizzying moment, I look out beyond the glass windows and feel as though the currents of the sea are running deep in the marrow of my bones and swirling beneath my skin. Holy shit, can y'all please give the person who wrote this an award? Okay. I feel them churning and crashing, my heartbeat scattering into the low roar of the 1,000 tons of water pressure. My ears are blocked, my veins run icy, but still, I hear it. I hear them. I hear them all. Clearer and sharper than ever. There's that absence of sound, a heavy emptiness, that familiar nothing, and then everything as my whole world fades to black. Then a flash. Somewhere in my mind, I can see a window. One not too unlike those in the atrium, but in front of it lies a figure in a comfortable-looking bed. The shadows of the ocean cast them in a gentle green-blue light, and I'm caught by how beautiful they are. Dark hair that falls in waves over the smooth, freckled skin of their shoulders, their lashes long where they flutter against sleep-flushed cheeks, their chests heaves as they toss and turn and pant. I'm transfixed. Obviously, I'm gonna look closer. It's almost Pride Month. Like, come on now. I take a step forward as the figure reaches out a hand, but they're not reaching for me. I focus on the wrinkles in the sheets that pool around their bare waist, their legs thrashing and their long fingers curling in the soft fabric as though they mean to tear holes in it. Oh my god, wait, is this gonna get dirty? Because I did not flag this. It's dirty. It's not. Yes, please, is definitely gonna go there. More. What are you? It feels like I'm watching something intimate, something not for strangers to witness, but I can't bring myself to look away. Instead, I focus on the sound of the thunderous beating of their heart that seems to echo in the chamber of my mind. Their back arches and they cry out, and then a breathless statement falls from their lips. Tell me who you are. You always leave. Don't leave. I take another step, then another, drawn in by the soft cadence of their voice, a siren song. Something tells me to reach out and touch them, and so I do, my fingertips barely grazing the soft skin of their freckled shoulder. And then it hits me like a freight train.
Stay. Are you looking to the vile rod? I have the upper hand. We need you here. Sweet dreams.
They knew what they were doing with that. They knew what they were doing with that. A rush, a symphony of voices. No. One voice. It's deep and rich. It's a sermon and a prayer. Something terrible and desperate and intoxicating that invokes nothing but a sense of danger. Run. It awakens a restlessness inside me, something that's been building alongside of all the promises that the voices who whisper to me in dreams have made, promises of a better world, of a savior, of paradise. But then it gets too loud. I cover my ears and will it to go away, feeling like if I let it in, then it'll gut me and leave me hollowed out and raw. When I open my eyes, the figure before me shoots upright. And then they're looking right at me. Like this isn't a dream or a vision or whatever the hell seems to take hold of me when I let the whispers in. No, this is very real. From the sweat that beads at their brow and in the hollow of their throat, trailing over their skin until it settles in the sharp relief of their clavicles, to the way their lips slyly curl at the edges. My chat, y'all. We don't know who this is. We're trying to find out. I feel the weight of that reality as I'm pinned in place by their golden eyes. I don't know whether they're going to kill me or kiss me, but I don't think that I'd mind either way. This They wrote this with me in mind. They did. I let my hands fall, that voice now nothing but a terrible memory, and I stare right back. When they smile, their teeth are as sharp as knives. I am the target audience, yes. Maybe they will devour me after all. I can think of worse ways to go. Who are you? No, who are you? Before I can respond, the shadows consume me, and I'm bathed in darkness once more. Motherfucker. I wake early, and I don't remember how I got home. But I do know that my sleep was fitful and plagued with nightmares. These designers knew exactly. Y'all, if anybody's watching from Lunaris Games, y'all knew what you were doing with this one, alright? And I'm just saying, it was money well spent. I would say that was nothing new, but these were different. That voice sticks with me, haunts me, and the whispers that were once nothing but a quiet, friendly call are now deafening. Like a death knell, like something's trying to stifle them and all they can do is scream. It's a beautiful day here in Styx. Though maybe I should have called out today after all. The clock on the wall declares that it's 9:30. I've been in my chair, turning the recorder off and on for the past 30 minutes, but nothing comes out of those tapes is sticking in my mangled... Nothing coming out of those tapes is sticking in my mangled mind. The piece of paper sitting in my typewriter stares up at me tauntingly, still as white as snow. I wish my thoughts were the same, but instead I'm replaying what I saw last night over and over until I feel sick. I've lived with visions all my life, and those like me who live in secrecy on the surface have a pretty way of putting it. They say our parents or grandparents carried the sea with them when they walked out of the waves to join those up there, and that the sea never left us. Its currents flow in our blood, its whispers, secrets beckoning us to return. In a way, I suppose it's comforting. No matter where I go, no matter what might have happened to me up there, I always had a home to return to. Here in Styx, surrounded by the ocean's tumultuous darkness, the vision yesterday was sharper and more real than anything I've experienced before. So much so, I think I almost lost myself in it. I came here because I could no longer resist the call. Much like how the pure-blooded sirens charm others, the sea charms us. Okay. Will I one day dissolve into sea foam and memories among the waves? A knock on the door halts the spiraling of my thoughts. Jerking to attention, I instinctively get up to answer it. It can't be Penny. I'm sure I heard sounds coming from her office, and nobody is scheduled to visit. It swings open before I can reach for the handle, and before me stands a tall, broad-shouldered, and bespectacled man. He adjusts his glasses, looking annoyed, his mouth already half open, also he's going to call out for someone. With the fucking gray hair... He stops short when he sees me, however, and blinks. Oh, pardon me, I thought. He clears his throat, seeming like he's struggling for words, then turns and closes the door instead. There's a brown paper bag clutched tightly in his hand. A delivery for a penny? Can I help you? I didn't think we had any appointments today, but... The stranger smirks. Penelope has appointments now. Only for you, Arch. Penny emerges from her office, snuffing out a half-smoked cigarette in the ashtray on my desk before leaning against it and raising an eyebrow at our guest. It's immediately obvious that they know each other, and while Penny isn't exactly smiling, she seems relaxed. Well, as relaxed as Penny can be, anyway. A bespectacled silvering fox, yeah, no shit. Came meet Dr. Archimedes... I'm not going to murder that last name, because that would be rude of me, but I am going to learn how to pronounce it. He's an acquaintance of mine. I was going to tell you I was expecting him, but I didn't think we'd be expecting him quite this early. Well, what do you know? Having my entire clinic wrecked by drunks picking fights after I spent effort stitching them up put me in the mood to go through my old recordings. A welcome distraction. He turns to me with a dashing smile. And please, just call me Smiling, Penny shoves her hand towards him, her palm upturned and her fingers wiggling impatiently as she awaits the offering that the doctor has brought her. Archie holds out the brown paper bag, teasingly keeping it just out of her reach as he turns to me and gives me an apologetic look. You're her new hire, right? I'm sorry for bringing you more work. It makes no difference at this point. Just add it to the pre-existing mountain. Hey, it's like real work. Hey, come on now, Kay. Aren't you ecstatic about having something to keep you nice and busy? The mischievous glint in her eyes is very telling. You're doing a good job of that already. Penny smirks at me, then snatches the bag and empties the content on her desk like a child eager to open presents on Christmas morning. I spend the minute she takes sorting through them to study Archie further, but I'm quick to discover he has the same idea when I find him looking right back. Suchida? See, like I can't... Suchida. That feels very gringo. I imagine the double E is the long E. Arlo, I'm gonna take your word on it. It's nice to meet you. Likewise. There's a moment of awkward silence, on my part mostly. Archie nods politely, but he's borderline staring, his gaze curious and sharp. I feel like I'm being studied. I mean, being studied would not be a bad thing, you know what I mean? Instinctively, I drop my gaze. I have a feeling I know what he's looking at. My eyes. A dull, honeyed yellow, a siren's trait, the most visible and unmistakable sign of the half of me that isn't human. Sorry, that was rude of me. You're not the first person to do it, though. It's a lot less of a problem here than elsewhere. Like on the surface, I want to say. The one good thing about being in Styx is that I'm no longer some anomaly. I can never wrap my mouth around this word. Anomaly, or pretty freak. There are plenty like me. Golden eyes staring in from behind the city's glass windows, or the brighter ones worn on very normal-looking human faces, smiling at me as I walk down the street. So, Hottie McHotterson from the dream that's a siren. I figure. Probably a full-blooded siren, given the fact that the teeth got all sharp. I rub the back of my neck awkwardly. I've looked away out of habit. Nothing good happens when the people back home start staring, but I'm not home anymore, am I? Well, okay, you'll be happy to know that at least they're all labeled. Penny finishes her assessment of the goods, and with pursed lips, she hands me a tidy stack of tapes. They're bound together by twine, and there's a note in flowing handwriting tucked under the string listing what I assume is the details of the contents. You looking to hire another transcriber? Please say yes. Teeth stits. Penny scowls at me. Good luck finding someone else who wants to get involved with this mess right now, friend. In fact, I was worried you would ignore my request, Archie. You were quiet for so long. Ignore you? After you barely acknowledged my own correspondence unless I delivered it in person for months? Admittedly tempting. Hey, I've been busy. She gestures at my desk, the tapes, everything in general. Those stress lines are appearing on her face again, tight around her mouth. A fucking mess, as you can imagine. Don't suppose you've got any information about our newest mystery? Penny looks at the corkboard off to one side, and Archie drifts closer to it. I only need to follow her gaze. She flicks the poster leaning against the wall with a resigned sigh before she addresses me. Okay. Missing. We are seeking information regarding the disappearance of this individual. Last seen in the Asphodel area of the city, an extensive investigation is being conducted to locate him. Egan Castor, I imagine that it's last name, first name. That feels correct. Description. Male, born in Athens, Greece. Date of birth, October 23rd, 1930. Libra man, not sure how I feel about that. Height 6 feet 2 inches, hair black, eyes blue. Should you have or in the future receive any information concerning the whereabouts of this individual, you are requested to notify Penelope Sinclair immediately. Why are we looking for him? I was expecting it to be Scott. Egan Castor. His brother came to my apartment after the quake in a mad panic. Said he disappeared last night under suspicious circumstances, but that's all I managed to get out of the crazy bastard before he ran off. Men. Oh, I like Penny more and more. Archie huffs a laugh, implying that he agrees with her before he turns relatively serious. Your guess is as good as mine. I was probably one of the last people to talk to him before he went missing, apart from his brother. But other than seeming like he was in a terrible hurry, he said nothing else. You had direct contact with him before he disappeared? Archie shrugs, looking pensive. Penny only frowns, but she doesn't push, nor does she seem in a hurry to press him further. Though Archie takes a deep breath and offers clarification freely. Maybe it was my glare that did the trick. He comes by my clinic occasionally. Charming guy, but he remains a mystery to me despite having known him for a while now. Always anxious and rushing about. Just tight-lipped about everything. I don't have time to talk to him because he will never let me have that time. Sure sounds like Egan. Always charming his way out of actually saying something of substance, despite clearly not lacking brain cells. And now he's gone, it would appear. Penny's lips press into a thin, razor-sharp line. After a moment, she sighs. There's just too many moving parts that we can only ever see half of, if that. She pauses, then turns to me with a frown. You know what? Take the day off if you want. I'd like to give these tapes a listen before you transcribe them, and I need to think about reorganizing the priorities of the work I've given you, with Egan's disappearance cropping up. This one feels significant. You two should both take a break. Doctor's orders? I wouldn't dream of trying to order an investigator around in her own office, Miss Sinclair, but it is my recommendation. Penny smiles. Just a tiny one, but it's there. I'd better head back in case I have patients waiting. Nice to see you both. I hope I never have to see either of you in my clinic. I wouldn't be caught dead there. You never stock rum. Please don't use rum as medicine. From his pocket, Archie produces a business card. This he hands to me. Dr. Archimedes Sushida, Studio 11, Meadow Way, Asphodel. We will maintain your discretion with utmost care for proportional payment. What was it you just said about not wanting to see either of us there? I said I hope I won't have to. In these times, though. Archie shrugs helplessly. For a moment he looks pensive, as though he's going to say something else. I flip the card in my hand, considering it for a moment. Business only? Or are you open to less formal visits as well? That depends on the nature of whatever you're trying to discuss. Penny laughs. Don't bother, Kay. He never stocks anything worth a visit in his cabinets. It's always just those bitter elixirs. Now get lost, Sushida. Good, check up. With a wink and a final smirk, Archie sees himself out. I wait until the door is closed and his footsteps are gone to speak. Nice guy. He's a bit annoying, but overall, yeah. Now, what are you waiting for? For me to change my mind about letting you off early? I grab my coat and head for the door before she can finish her glare. As I wander through the atrium aimlessly, there's a shop that catches my eye. Are we going shopping? Is this a shopping episode? It does this every time I pass this way for reasons I can't begin to unravel. This small, gimmicky-looking fortune-telling hub nestled between Taikis? It's leaning Greek, so I'm pretty sure the CH is K. Correct me if I'm wrong. The question is it Taiki or Taike? Taike probably sounds more Greek. I am not very good with reading aloud. Because, words that are supposed to be pronounced one way, I don't know. Because I just read them. Audiobooks weren't a thing when I was reading growing up. Anyway, and Aphrodite's Beauty Salon. The Killing Moon. Thanks, babe. The Killing Moon, its sign announces with a graceful flourish. That's this one right here. Its colorful window is chock full of charms, oddities, and various posters insisting that the incredible Eve can tell me my fortune and what I ate for breakfast. I lean in to get a better look at one of those flyers. A redhead? This game literally, these designers literally went in my head. I was like, okay, what are all the things that this bitch likes? Hot, sexy people. Check. Redheads. Check. Bespeckled, silvering foxes. Check, check. Like, with a little Greek flavoring on top. I'm saying. Past, present, future. The ultimate master of divination with a direct link to the spiritual plane and supernatural regions beyond. Right. It does draw you in, I'll give the owner that. Yet I can't shake the feeling that there's more to it than just the whimsical display that calls for my attention. Before I can fully control myself, my hand is already on the shop's doorknob, and then I'm inside. Scene change. Bell above the door jingles to announce my entry, and a powerful wave of incense and the smell of at least half a dozen scented candles assaults my nose. I like the music. Sorry, I was taking a minute to listen to the music. The music that plays quietly on a record player in the corner is strangely nostalgic, and the door clicks shut behind me. I step forward. My eyes drawn to the shelves full of trinkets and gleaming crystals, their bright colors drawing me in. You're a curiosity, aren't you? More precious than any in this shop. And look, the tides have washed you right in. And she looks tall. What the fuck? I nearly jump out of my skin as a figure appears, seemingly out of nowhere. I sense their gaze after I hear their voice, their eyes blue and piercing and bright. Then I see the rest of them, a wispy figure dressed in all white, with a cascade of red hair, a slim face, and slender hands. This is exactly what I thought, Florence and the Machine. If I didn't know any better, I think I'd bump right into a ghost. The stranger smiles at me, their expression dreamy, if not for their unnervingly curious eyes. They are a spirit, right? Like, we agree on this. Looking for anything in particular, stranger? Oh, no, just looking. They grab a crystal off the closest shelf and cradle it in their palms. Their long, light eyelashes flutter as they lean in, whispering to it. I have one of those. I have one of those. It's not... See? It's like half my palm. It's literally just Florence. It really is. Making a mess. I ordered groceries today, y'all. Unloaded and reloaded the dishwasher. Heated up dinner. Put the baby in the bath. And while he was in the bath, I cleaned up. I made sure all the dishes in the sink are soaking so I can load the dishwasher tomorrow. I have peanut butter sandwich crackers, which I probably won't eat because I really didn't want this. I just grabbed it so I wasn't grabbing chips. And muffin. I have a muffin. Now seems like a really great time to take a quick snacky break to shove some food in my mouth. How was everybody's day? Did everybody have a good day? I don't want to talk about my day. It was long. But I did get paid today. And I did get my bonus today. It wasn't a big bonus. But it's extra money, so I'm not going to complain. Okay. Let's see what this, You have tomorrow off? Woo! Best way to start Pride Month. Let's go. Don't forget to leave out cookies for Gay Santa. Wait, is this a good reason that you have tomorrow off? You don't have to tell me. I mean, you can message me if you don't want to say it on stream. No judgments here. Here, Jet. If you're ever feeling like you might float away, this will keep you grounded. Happy birthday, Piper! How old is he now? Like 40? 50? Just kidding, Piper! Perpetually 30! 21! Probably should have led with that before I... Did you at least take Friday off too, so you can have a nice another long weekend? I hope he has the best of days. He is free from any shit tomorrow, and then you can go back to giving him shit Friday. That's how that goes, right? Nice. I'm coasting on that Friday. Okay. Just remember, they don't pay you enough to, you know, work that much or that hard. They lean in and put their hand to their mouth as if they're about to spill a secret, their voice a whisper. Good for curses, too. Curses? Are you done wasting my time, Eve? The new voice echoes coldly around the shop. I look up and find the source of it standing with his arms crossed by the counter, a scowl firmly fixed on his pale face. He looms, his presence almost oppressive. A sad boy. You had to have an emo one. There had to be a contrast here. There's something oddly and eerily familiar about him, though I can't tell from where or how, and he doesn't give me time to consider. As though sensing my attention, the man turns and frowns at me. At this point, the shopkeeper, Eve, also whirls around to face the rude guest, their shiny black rock still in their clutches. Enough of that, Blue. It's already a misfortune that you came into my shop. Now you're chasing my customers away with that face, the gall of it. I was here first. And? You're not buying anything, are you? This Blue sneers, his lip curling back over perfect white teeth. I'm positive he's some kind of ghost or demon himself. The strange black tattoos that vine over his strong forearms and disappear under the sleeves of his pretty shirt, sure looking like a bad omen. I'm not about to be tricked into purchasing your overpriced garbage, no. But I would still appreciate you having the courtesy to finish our conversation before you move on to your next pick. Oh my god, it's Kylo Ren! Okay, so confession. The emo, sad, tragic romance interest, like love interests, don't do anything for me. Give me the bright, sunny, sunshine love interest. I want the goody two shoes. I want the sweet, slightly innocent yet not innocent. Like, just that's what I want. Okay. I watch Eve's fingers flex around the rock and wonder for a split second if they might turn it into a projectile. But then they shake their head and gesture as though motioning for silence and turn back to me with a sweet, coy smile. Sorry about that. As I was saying, Jet! Yes? This might help you with your little problem? They slip the stone into my hand. How did you know about... I glanced desperately at Blue. He's been rude, but at least distracted the shopkeeper from their hard sell for a second there. He mumbles something under his breath, and I notice how stark the dark circles under his eyes are, a flash of macabre purple against pale white. Another word I can never wrap my mouth around. I wonder when the last time he bothered to sleep was, if he even bothers at all. So, like, not vampire, not demon, but there's something like succubus? Maybe? Does anyone get a good night's sleep in the city, save the dead? I'd put it back on the shelf with the rest of them if I were you, stranger. There are more useful wrecks in the ocean. Thank you, love. Eve purses her lips. I enjoy rude men who overstay their welcome in my shop just as much as you enjoy my useless trinkets, Mr. Castor. Perhaps a banishing crystal will suffice, maybe 10 to get rid of the likes of you. Blue's mouth twitches in brief amusement, then he snorts and pushes past us, our shoulders brushing for a split second. Uh-oh. My world darkens and tilts. I hear the muted rumbling of undersea waves and a dull cry that could be a voice or something far worse. Something unfathomable and ancient and terrible. It reminds me of what I felt last night when I gazed upon the stranger in my vision. I blink and he's gone, like he was never even here, a dark void left in his place. Eve claps with their hands and breaks me from my daze. Aha! The banishing crystals worked. What did I tell you? I force a smile, though even I can feel that it's shaky and unconvincing. Eve rests a cool palm against my forearm. Hey, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm gonna lie. I'm fine. I blink and shake my head, trying to dislodge the disorientation. What was that? What was he? Sorry, I'm fine, just a little tired. Eve purses their lips and tilts their head. They clearly don't believe me. I swear it. Sure. They cross their arms and tilt their head again, this way and that. Eve squints and leans in like they're trying to see me more closely. A little uncomfortable. I lean away. After a moment, the shopkeeper hums and straightens. They put their hands behind their back and close their eyes, tilting their head as though listening to something. Okay. This is going from weird to frightening. Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. That man, you called him Mr. Castor? The missing poster flashes through my mind. Archie mentioned a brother, didn't he? Yes, I wish people weren't quite so fascinated with him. He's a load of trouble, you know. All jagged edges and wood splinters. The type of human that will cut you if you stand too close. Hey! That's not what I... How come that didn't work out well? Oh, no, it worked exactly as it was supposed to. I just, make a note. Sorry. I didn't see what time it was. Bye, B. So I set up like a timed chat message. I'm trying to like figure out mix it up more. So I decided to do like a random shout out and then a reminder to maybe follow me, but that's not what that one is. So for some reason my shout out command's not working either. Okay. Okay, back to the game. But like divers risking drowning to find treasures in shipwrecks. Eve sighs gustily and shrugs, holding up their hands. Do you know where he's going? I might have some questions for him. So much for my day off, but maybe if I can head off this investigation, it might give us a new lead. His brother and Penny's partner won't find themselves. No, and I think I quite like it that way. Eve begins to wave dismissively, then pauses. They consider me for a heartbeat with pursed lips. I can't tell what they're thinking. Before I can ask, however, Eve sighs and ducks behind the counter. But I know you're not going to leave it alone, are you? I can tell you're not the type. So here, consider this a new customer welcome gift. They hand me a card. Adrian Navarre? Portraits, fine art, advertisements. Elysian Fields, Studio 12. Who is this? The one person closest to that mysterious Mr. Castor, probably. Adrian's teeth are sharper, but at least they won't bite. Adrian's the mystery person. Adrian's the person from Yep. They seem to reconsider that statement. Well, not unless you ask nicely, of course. And what will this cost me exactly? Oh, that's free. The city's already teeming with ghosts, you know. I would rather not add yours to my conscience. Eve smiles beatifically? Beatifically. I don't know how to pronounce that word, and that's okay. Alright then, they can keep their secrets, I suppose. Though maybe it's poor manners to leave without buying something now. Just a smidge. The jet, how much is it? You know what? You can keep that too. Now you're being suspiciously generous. Pay me back with another visit, how about that? I see you walking past my shop a lot, you know. You must work close by, so drop in. Eve smiles wider. I smile back, a little uncertainly. Then I look down at the address on the business card again. The name sounds familiar. I don't know from where or where, but it feels like a long-forgotten morsel of knowledge. I wonder if that's Winterware. It's supposed to be Winterware. Okay. And if it really will help me find this mysterious other caster, I'll have to take it. Thank you, Eve. Come again. There's butts! Butts! Okay. The peaceful streets of Elysium are a far cry from the bustle of the atrium and the upper levels of the city. And when I enter Adrian's studio, I'm struck by how spacious it is in comparison to the houses in Asphodel where I reside. It's so bright. The windows are huge, and the view of the endless ocean outside seems somewhat less murky and ominous than I'm used to. I'm struck by the sheer amount of stuff in here, from canvases to easels to an abundance of paintbrushes and other supplies, and this definitely, unmistakably, the humble abode of a talented artist. Then I spot said talented artist, and my breath leaves my lungs. I told you! I called it! It's them, the stranger from my vision, and by the way they're looking at me and the clattering of the paintbrush that falls from their fingers and their wide golden eyes, I think they recognize me too. Hi. They clear their throat and avert their gaze, their paint-smeared cheeks turning pink as they run their blue hands over the front of their apron. The silence would be deafening if it wasn't for the sound of my own heartbeat hammering furiously in my ears. Do I say something about what I saw? Am I going to look crazy if they don't know who I am? Maybe they're just shy? No, not shy. Not if the way they looked at me like I was something to eat in that vision with anything to go by. I remember how they sounded, how they looked, flushed and desperate, then hungry. Shit. Now my cheeks are burning too. Fuck it. Time to break the ice. Sorry to just barge in like this. I'm sure you're very busy. The strange shopkeeper that likes crystals sent me. Adrian's still shocked gaze flicks back to me at that, and they seem to straighten a little, finding at least an ounce of the composure they lost the second they laid eyes upon me. Eve? I nod, and Adrian sighs. I'm looking for Blue Castor. I blurted out before I even thought it through, but that statement does nothing to pique Adrian's interest. That name doesn't ring a bell, sorry. I'm Adrian Navari. Portraits, fine art, advertisements. Their mouth hangs open as I produce their calling card from my pocket. Well, yeah, that'd be me. Sorry, I'm a little, frazzled. They stare at me, those eyes burning and curious, trying to suss me out, I suspect. I didn't sleep very well, you see. And there it is. I don't know this person, and I certainly don't know if I can trust them yet, so I decide to let them continue the conversation. I force a small smile, and I wait. I have to say, I was relieved when I saw you walk through that door just now. And why would that be? Adrian frowns like I should know the answer, like they've already assumed that I know what the hell they're talking about. Because it means that you're real, that I'm not alone in this, and if you're real... Wait, I thought that all sirens and half-bloods have such dreams. Adrian stares, almost looking right through me. No, not at all. Like I said, I thought I was the only one. At least I thought I was the only one who had such, vivid dreams, visions, whatever the hell you want to call them. Anyone with siren blood hears the whispers and feels the pull, but mine are different, stronger, overwhelming almost. Can't remember the last time I had a night without them. The thought that I might be the only one feeling that chiding pull. He's a painter! Pay attention! Fine arts, portraits, advertisements. The thought that I might be the only one feeling that chiding pull, the one that reeled me in and tugged me down here, back into the depths where I was born, where I belong. Home. But it doesn't feel like home. Not yet. Do you see him too? I snap myself from my wandering thoughts and look at Adrian again, studying their hopeful expression. They speak in a hushed tone, almost a whisper, like whatever they're asking is a secret to be kept and held tightly. Him who? They swallow loudly, wringing their hands. He visits me sometimes, disturbs my dreams, the ones where it feels like something important is about to happen. He gets so bright, blinding almost, but then he comes and everything is... Well, he's all there is. He snuffs the light out, this all-consuming darkness that seems to engulf whatever else came before it. Adrian's words seem to get stuck in their throat, sounding heavy and thick as they roll off their tongue. Their cheeks are pink again, their eyes getting dark. From the way that they describe this visitor, you'd think they'd be terrified, but there's something else there in their gaze. Curiosity, maybe. But then maybe it's something else entirely, something I can't quite put my finger on. You don't seem too upset about it. They turn their gaze to the window and stare out at the green-blue hush of the ocean. I see the shadowy figure of a sentinel swimming by in the distance, and Adrian shudders before they face me again. I'd just like to know who he is so I can find him and ask him why the hell he's been haunting me, what his purpose is. You spoke to me last night. Can't you just ask him? They shake their head. Oh, I've asked him plenty, but he doesn't answer. He does speak sometimes, but he... A pause, their mouth twisting to the side. He doesn't answer. By the look on their face, I suspect that's all I'm going to get out of them on their strange dream intruder, but I still have so many other questions. Why me? Why them? How did Eve know to send me here, to the very person who invaded my own dreams? Visions, whatever, especially if they don't have a clue who Blue Castor is. Eve said you would know him, the guy I'm looking to speak to. You really don't recognize that name? Certainly doesn't ring a bell, sorry. I get a lot of clients through here for work, though. Maybe you could take a look at some of my stuff and tell me if you spot him. If you know what he looks like? I nod, and Adrian ushers me over to a wall overflowing with art. Sketches are stuck to the stone, messy ones and fully formed finished pieces. There are a number of canvases propped up against each other in rows, and more littering the floor. It's chaos, but the beautiful kind. I lean in and start looking through them, careful not to touch the art itself. I can feel Adrian looming close, watching me like a hawk. You're very talented. Oh, thank you. It's an honest living. I'm lucky that people support me. Not many who can say that art keeps a roof... Not many who can say that art keeps a roof like this over their head, I suppose. Why does it feel so awkward in my mouth? I snort and think of my tiny one-bedroom apartment back in Asphodel and wonder if I should have picked up a brush instead of a pen. I pause, something catching my eye in my peripheral. I stand and quickly walk over to what looks like a fresh painting, still resting upon an easel and wearing the same blue that Adrian was covered in when I arrived. Those eyes, I'd never forget them. It's him, unmistakably. I take a step back, the intensity of the stare making the hairs on the back of my neck stand, and I step on a piece of charcoal as I do. I look down to make sure I haven't ruined any of Adrian's work, and I see a portrait taped to the floorboards. It's him again, Blue Castor, but he looks almost peaceful. Not at all like the frowning, tired ghost of a man I saw at the Killing Moon. Adrian rushes over and steps in front of the canvas on the easel, almost as if they mean to shield those eyes from my gaze. Oh, that one is just... That's Blue Castor, and so is this. I point to the one right by my feet. He's the guy I'm looking for. You said you didn't know who he is, and yet... What are you hiding? Adrian looks like they've seen a ghost of their own. Adrian, are you... You have to go. I'm sorry, I have clients coming soon and I need to prepare. I'm sure you understand. I don't, of course I don't, but I also don't feel like pressing this skittish siren further. I can feel the way they've shut down on me. Maybe they really don't know him. Maybe he's just a pretty face in a crowd that they took a liking to, or maybe they're lying through their pointed teeth and hiding something, protecting him. Right. Of course. Would you mind stopping by to talk to me tomorrow? Adrian is practically vibrating, restlessly shifting from foot to foot, wringing their hands. They're desperate for me to leave, and I've never been more suspicious. I dip into my pocket and pull out one of our business cards, and their eyes widen briefly when they take it from me with a trembling hand. You're an investigator? Has he done something wrong? I just want to talk to him, that's all. I see. I turn and head for the door, hesitant to leave, but I truly don't think I'm getting anything more out of them. I'd really like to talk to you too, Adrian, about the dreams and about Blue. Stop by as soon as you can. Right. At least I know where they live if they don't show, I guess. I could bring Penny with me, that'd scare them into talking. I almost say goodbye before I reach for the handle and step into the quiet streets of Elysium, but I refrain. Instead, I exit quietly, leaving them alone with whatever thoughts they're having that seem to have rendered them useless. I'm suddenly far more interested in Blue Castor than I initially thought I should be, and I'm certainly none the wiser about Adrian Navarre and why it was them that the universe decided to show me in my vision either. Another mystery for the board. I need a drink. The art. Thank you, Piper! And there's no better place for a drink than the Vanguard Lounge, one of the finer venues in Styx. It's so pretty! I can't stand it. The handsome bartender, Teddy, makes eye contact with me the moment I step through the door, mouthing the usual. I've only been here twice, but I appreciate his enthusiasm. He winks when I nod. I can't decide if I'm endeared or annoyed. Well, show us Teddy! What are you waiting for? I'm leaning more towards the former, though. This is a nice place, one where you don't feel like you might get your wallet or your soul stolen. It's spacious, with impeccable taste in music, decor, and the menu, and the service here is hard to beat. Everything feels chosen with care, though the real draw of it is how easy it is to relax and let yourself melt into the pleasant din of Styx's nightlife. I want to see Teddy, too. Sighing, I slide into a stool at the bar, a glass filled with my favorite usual drink. Hi, Casper! How are you? A glass filled with my favorite usual drink appears in front of me. I look up to thank Teddy, but he's already busy with another customer. On the way, my eyes land on a familiar face. It's Penny! Penny raises an eyebrow at me over the rim of her drink before checking the contents back and sighing as the empty glass hits the bar. Hanging in there. Thanks for asking. Playing a new demo for a new visual novel game that I backed on Kickstarter. I'm very excited about it. And here I was thinking you were gonna go home and sleep. To be fair, me too. She looks pensive and haunted, like she's only sent her body here to fetch a gin and left her mind back in the office. Though that's pretty damn clear in the way she has a mess of case files spread out on the bar in front of her. That unfortunately reminds me of why I visited the Vanguard to begin with. You drinking? I sure am. I take a small measured sip of the beverage Teddy has been so kind to provide me, and the pleasant burn of my favorite poison on my tongue certainly boosts the mood. How quickly it does so is almost embarrassing, but it's not like I'm in company that might judge me. So I had a weird encounter with a siren today. Well, what's fucking new in this town? Gotta get lost with the boss. Despite her apparent uninterest, Penny listens intently as I tell her about Adrian. With the way her eyes flash when I skim over the bit about having seen them in my vision last night, I can tell she knows I'm holding back. Nothing gets past this one, but thankfully she doesn't press me on it. When I'm finished, Penny purses her lips. She takes another thoughtful sip of her recently chopped up gin and frowns. Can't say I know them, but I know of them. Practically everyone in the city does. I hear they're a bit of a sweet talker. If you think they're up to no good, by all means, have at 'em. You think they just coincidentally have something to do with Blue and in turn Egan? Of course not. Nothing is coincidental in this town. If you can be sure of nothing else, then be sure of that. Still, just because two people are connected doesn't mean that connection's automatically relevant to the case. Which is her way of saying, like, I have enough suspicions to go on, but no reason to bring them in. The guy's a nut. Blue Castor, that is. He and his brother, but he's the weirder one. Egan at least always had a smile ready and the courtesy to be polite when he was lying to me. Recalling the guy in Eve's shop and his abrasiveness, yeah, that checks out. You don't think... I trail off as the lights dim and a gradual hush falls upon the night crowd. Penny visibly perks up, setting her glass down and turning to face the stage, and I follow her eager gaze. Are we getting another Hottie McHotterson? A spotlight winks on, and a figure strides into it, all confidence and killer curves, heels clicking loudly in the momentary quiet. Hot damn. And then, up come the lights, and it's her stage. Even from here, I can feel the stranger's calm radiance. She smiles, opening her eyes, and the hush in the lounge intensifies until the music starts to play. I hear Penny swallow first, though, loudly. Somehow the songbird catches my gaze. She winks, and then she begins to sing. Her voice is mesmerizing, soothing even. I lean closer to Penny. Who is that? Shh, no talking. I glance at her, annoyed, but Penny isn't lucid enough to care. She's staring at the performer instead. And it's not the sort of undivided attention she gives to her files and reports. It's something else, like a sailor lured by a siren song. When the song finally ends and the lights turn back on, Penny sucks in an almost ragged inhale, then curses under her breath and shakes her head. Penny has it bad for the singer. That's smitten, huh? I swear I had absolutely nothing to do with the creation of the game. It just so happens that the designer somehow hacked into my brain and pulled out all the little things that... Oh, feel better, Arlo. Go get some rest. Rest is important. Get some sleep. Make sure you have plenty of water to eat. Don't forget to leave cookies out for Gay Santa tomorrow. Penny immediately gives me the stink eye. Watch it. I raise my hands in surrender, but I can't help one more playful dig. Maybe you should buy her a drink, or ask for an interview. Come on, boss, you're a reporter, a detective. That's a whole VIP. Penny's face is turning slightly pink, and her glower is straight up murderous. I might have gone too far after all. Don't worry, darling. Penelope doesn't need silly little excuses to see me. I'm right here. With a wicked smile and a wink, the songbird appears next to us. Good Lord! Penny sighs harshly and fishes her lighter and cigarette packet out of her coat. I thought you'd be busy for the whole evening, Callie. Callie is in, like, Calliope? Wasn't Calliope a muse? Not for the next 15 minutes. I have to let the junior performers have their moment too, you know? She turns to me and leans in with a hand guarding one side of her mouth like she's about to tell me a secret. Penny groans. I'm nice like that. I must say, you being here is a pleasant surprise. I thought we'd really lost you to those dusty files forever. This Callie winks at me conspiratorially, and I can't help but smile. She sure seems to have a way with getting people to loosen up. Fortunately not. She's had well-timed interruptions all day. I'm relieved to hear that there are others sharing my terrible burden of being the interruption, at least. Showing mercy to my now uncharacteristically red-faced boss, she turns fully to me. And you must be Miss Sinclair's new victim. I mean, coworker. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And that's the K. Smith, the basic name. You can call me Callie. Even if some stubborn investigators still insist on Calliope sometimes, just ignore her, okay? Hey, you call me Penelope. Just returning the favor, sweetheart. Penny opens her mouth and closes it, then she gets to her feet. I'm gonna take a smoke break. Don't embarrass yourself, Kay. Callie here might listen to your secrets, but that doesn't mean she won't spill them. With that, Penny leaves. She doesn't go far. That much I can see. Just a few steps away, actually. I watch her fumbling with her lighter for a moment before I turn back to the songbird. Chuckling, Callie slides into the seat Penny had vacated. She picks up Penny's abandoned glass and looks at it for a moment before setting it down. Are you new to the city? How can you tell? I make it my business to know people's faces around here, and yours, I don't know, lovely as it is, but I do hope I'll get to know it. She inclines her head, and though she smiles at me, the way she's staring, with those dull golden eyes much like mine, is obvious. You from the surface? Yes. My condolences. I was born and raised here in Styx, but the stories some Skya tell when the sea finally calls them home here, it breaks my heart. I can't promise you the city isn't full of trouble too, but at the same time I hope you'll find that you aren't totally among strangers here. At the very least you're not alone, nor is Penny now that you're here. Please don't misunderstand. We just have a working relationship, that's all. Of course. I hope I haven't made you think I assume anything more. All the same, any relationship is a... how do we say this? Human connection. Precious things that hold us anchored in the churning storm. I fear these recent tragedies are going to stir up the worst of the city, things better left asleep. Keep your head screwed on, won't you? I'll try. Callie looks up and smiles at something over my shoulder, and I know Penny's coming back. Gotten your feelings straightened out, Penelope? It's been way more than 15 minutes. Now, are you working tonight, or do you have time to fill me in? Callie tilts her head and raises an eyebrow. I can definitely tell the juniors they can hold the stage for the night if you want to pump me for more information. The gossip's good, but it depends on how nicely you ask. Wordlessly, Penny opens her wallet and tosses down enough payment on the counter for both of our drinks and picks up her pile of files with a huff and dumps them in my hands. I should stop being surprised at this point. Get some sleep, alright? You look like hell. Well, shit. Thanks. I'll put them in your office. It's nice to meet you, Callie. Pleasure was all mine, Kay. She winks at me, then laughs sweetly and gets up. Penny clasps me on the shoulder and throws me a wounded look before she follows her. Shaking my head, I finish my drink and head out. I'm loving this so far. So much. I'm definitely going to play it when I don't have to narrate so that I can fully enjoy it. Though it's hard to know what day and night are down here in these deep waters, Styx is a different city come sundown. It lives and breathes come nightfall, the neon-lit streets shining that much brighter. The people who walk the atrium look happier, carefree even. I'm yet to dive into the deeper parts of the city, the parts where they say the shadows don't stick, but I really do think I could learn to love it here. Not like I have a choice, I guess. I take a deep breath and stick my hands in my pockets, getting one last look at the bustling atrium before I turn on my heel and... I see Adrian. This game. Their long hair is free of the neat queue of their braid from earlier, and they're dressed a little smarter too. Their clothes are distinctly lacking the wrinkles of a hard day's work, and lashings of paint, but it's definitely them. I watch as they lean against the window of the killing moon, lost in their own little world as life swims on around them. Then I notice that they're watching something, or someone, quite intensely. I could take my chance to patch things up with them after the rather abrupt end to our conversation earlier, or I could watch, and I could see what they're up to, if they're up to anything at all. Obviously, we're gonna watch. Something catches their eye, making them stand straight as though they've been called to attention. Their hands clench and unclench restlessly at their sides, and then they're off. I catch a glimpse of a tall figure with raven hair and a long black coat disappearing around the corner, towards Asphodel, and Adrian makes chase. Their strides are long and purposeful, but there's a degree of hesitation, almost like they're afraid they'll be caught. I keep watching until they're approaching the same corner as the man in black, and they pause briefly, glancing around to check for observers. And they see me, our eyes meeting across the crowded atrium. I see the bob of their throat as they swallow, and the careful, subtle furrow of their brow. I take a step forward, and Adrian shakes their head furiously. A warning? A request? Either way, something inside me churns and tells me to respect it, to stay put, to let this one go. For now. So I stand, and I watch the siren disappear into the darkness, and the uneasy ache in the pit of my stomach has me idly wondering if this is how all horror stories start. Welcome to Styx, I guess. The darkness in Styx is something foreign to me. The city sits at the bottom of the ocean in darkness, but there's something about it that's strange, somehow. Alive. Some people here are looking for a fresh start. Others seek a place to hide away. That gnawing itch in the back of my mind drove me here, as if Styx called out to me specifically. It took me away from the surface, where the sun shines and where the air is fresh and cleansing, but I couldn't ignore that voice telling me to come down into the depths. What lurks in the shadows unnerves me, even in the comfort of my own home, especially after what happened the other night. With Adrian, my dream intruder. I shift on my mattress, the springs beneath press into my back in ways I'm not used to. The scent of the room and the way the light streams in through the window shades keep me from fully getting comfortable within these four unfamiliar walls. Nothing seems to quell the dread lingering in the pit of my stomach. The mere thought of closing my eyes and letting sleep take me is, frankly, terrifying. Then there's my luggage, mocking me from the corner of the room, still untouched. Maybe I'm scared to unpack, still somewhat believing this is a strange, extended vacation I didn't ask for. Something temporary despite the fact that this is my permanent home now. I need to find some perspective. Eventually, I allow myself to drift off and succumb to my exhaustion. I can usually tell when I'm dreaming. There's always something off or out of place, that feeling of drifting taking hold of me. I'm inside a bedroom that isn't my own, but feels distinctly familiar. It's cold here. I shiver as my skin erupts into goose flesh. I recognize the gray brick walls, the sweeping ocean view, the bed with the body inside. Adrian is in front of me. They're no stranger to my dreams, but this time they don't have any company other than myself. No other invisible body making them whine. No desperate pleas. No. This time they're sitting upright in bed, turned away from me so I see only their mussed hair and heaving shoulders, their skin glistening where they sweat. I love the music. I love everything about this game. I feel like I'm witnessing something I shouldn't again, and yet I can't bring myself to look away. Again. Were they startled in their sleep? Did they jolt awake like I have the past few weeks? I want to ask, but my voice is deadened and distorted like I'm underwater. Well, in the more literal sense, at least. Adrian shudders. They shake their head and scrub at their face vigorously, and I half expect them to turn to me again and catch me spying. It wouldn't be the first time. Instead, they only lie back down, settling against their pillows as they gaze out the window. The pale light from the sleeping city beyond refracts strangely as it filters through the glass. The sea outside Styx's glass dome is dark and cold. As we look at it together, I feel dread settling in. The shadows around this room, the chill, it's not static. It writhes and practically oozes, a cloying presence I can feel wrap around me, a slow and steady suffocation. The chill seeps deeper into my skin, right down to my bones. Viscous and silent, a figure morphs out of the shadows at the head of Adrian's bed. I feel myself move forward, shouting a warning, but my voice has no sound. My body isn't here, and Adrian doesn't see. They won't see it in time. I begin to panic. Will the shadow take Adrian too? So many people in the city lost, taken by shadows. Why won't Adrian look? No. The shadow moves and turns its attention toward me. Eerie white lights splash in the swirling black void, and I can't move. I can't breathe. I feel like I'm being pulled away. Before I know it, I'm back in my own bedroom, my vision swimming. I bolt upright in my bed, shivering as the cold air hits my sweaty skin, the ghost of Adrian's name still on my tongue. Shit. Showing up to work sleep-deprived from horrifying visions of murderous entities is not the most ideal way to begin a shift. Quite frankly, I prefer being hungover, or still drunk even. I shoulder my way past the door that has Scott and Sinclair Investigations etched upon the frosted glass and haphazardly hang my coat on the rack. My boss watches, an amused glint in her eye. You look like shit. What a lovely way to greet your only employee. Penny snorts and runs a hand through her hair, and it's obvious she hasn't slept. I can see how dark the skin around her eyes is from across the office. I don't think there is enough coffee on Earth to patch us up. I sincerely hope a prospective client doesn't come in. They'd be sort of disappointed and even a little bit frightened. So, I got Archie's tape sorted for you. I feign enthusiasm. Poorly. Super. Penny gives me a look, and if both of us weren't in our current state of exhaustion, I would have been frightened. I still raise my hands as a courtesy. The point is definitely taken. No jokes today. What have you been working on? Penny reshuffles the papers before her for a moment, brow knitted in concentration. I inch closer to the cassette tapes, precariously stacked on the end of her desk. Nothing helpful, and I've just been going through these damn tapes the good doctor supplied. When Penny is thinking, you can almost hear the gears turning in her head, facts clicking into place, connections being pieced together, the brightness in her eyes undeniable as she stares at some imagined caseboard and red string in her mind. Like Charlie Day. It's the Charlie Day meme. Even when she's tired, it shines through. Did Callie help? Did Callie have anything interesting to share last night? The way Penny looks at me like she's moments away from ending my life and dumping my body in the ocean tells me the answer is a solid, resounding no. I'll save you some trouble and catch you on the fact that Miss Seymour is a gossip and not a loyal one. Of all the people who love hearing her voice, she's at the top of the list, and for some reason, she enjoys putting me in the hot seat. I think about the way Penny's cheeks turned pink when Callie teased her and the wolfish glint the songbird got in her eyes. My detective brain can connect the dots pretty well here, but I'd like to keep both my job and my life, so I stay quiet. So, nothing. The only thing that piqued my interest was one of her bandmates saying he saw the Castor twins arguing the night Egan went missing, but that isn't exactly brand new information. Those two are always at each other's throats. Should I follow up on it? She sticks her tongue in her cheek, her eyes narrowed while staring at the wall. Then she sighs, defeated. We don't have much else. Follow up as much as your little heart desires. But before you get carried away, I need you to look at one of those tapes the good doctor so kindly lent us. I started to listen, or try to, but I can't make any sense of them right now. I think I'm too distracted. Or something. Or something. That's my cue, then. Correct. Smirking, she shoves the goods into my hands and nods at my desk. Then she taps her finger on one in particular near the top. This one first. I appreciate you, Kay. If you get through at least 2 of those towers, I'll buy you a drink at the Vanguard. I'll hold you to that. I'll probably need it. The tapes are organized as Penny promised, with a little note stuck to the top of each pile that tells me what order to adhere to. In fairness, Archie has done his due diligence in labeling them, but it doesn't hurt to be extra thorough. The one she points out goes into the player first, and I hastily finish setting up my typewriter while the cassette player rewinds it. Transcribing stuff for an investigator would be super fun. Keith said he's got a lead for me. He even said it's a birthday present. Cheeky bastard, but I have to admit it sounds too good to pass up. Nothing is excessive when it comes to this. Even hearsay has a grain of truth somewhere. Legends are remembered for a reason, after all. I'm confident. I hope it's a real lead. Keith said it has to do with that prophecy, the one mentioned in the text we recently excavated from the underwater ruins out in the deeper sea off Greece's coast. That alone would make it worthwhile to set aside time for whatever or whoever he's found. Nothing else we found or already have talks about any prophecy. So this might be the big break I'm looking for. We can only pray. May the light preserve us and shine the way to the truth. Huh. I squint at what I've typed up, reading the words again. A prophecy? I see why Penny couldn't get her head around it. The man sounded serious enough in his recording, but a prophecy? I thought he was a scientist or a researcher, not a fucking mystic. Out on Greece's coast, he said, the home of the sirens. I can almost imagine it. Tilted stone pillars, barnacles clinging to the surface, the seaweed growing too orderly into grids of once tended gardens to be wholly the result of wilderness's reclamation. A temple, deeper still. Where would he have found this so-called prophecy? Carved lovingly on a dais? Like a sacrificial slab of stone you see in some fairy tale? But he'd never know what it would be used for without bribing a siren, if true. Or maybe a skia. Not that we would know for sure, either. I bet money that tape was actually in a different language and we're just naturally translating it in our head to English. That's my best guess right now. A knock on the door breaks me free of meandering thoughts and I shake myself out of it. Only then do I realize how far they wandered away from me. If I let it run its course, would I have known how it ends? But even as I grasp for it, it fades away like a bad dream in daylight. You okay? Huh? Of course, why not? Penny frowns, her eyes sharp. I didn't even notice she reappeared. Can you get the door? I've got work to do. Shaking my head, I get up and go to answer it as requested. As I do, I hear the sound of Penny's office door opening and closing. There she goes. It's Adrian! Hi. I'm sorry I didn't make an appointment. Is it alright for me to come in? I stare at Adrian. They look nervous, but they stare right back, and the determined set of their jaw tells me they're here for a reason. Of course. Adrian's shoulders droop in what I assume is relief. They're smiling now, decidedly sheepish as they duck past me into the office. I close the door behind them, though not before checking to see if any threatening shadows followed them here. None that I can see, as if that means much. Wow, it's busy in here. They're looking at, well, everything. My desk, the tapes, the caseboard with all the names and faces of the missing, and it's to this that Adrian seems to gravitate toward. I know what they're looking at in particular, even with their back turned to me. The missing Castor. Did you know him? Adrian seems to startle at the question. No, but its face. They look back at the photograph with a frown, as though trying to recall something. I have the impression Adrian is being honest about this. At least they wouldn't have a reason to lie. Right? Though I'm not so sure I can say the same for Blue Castor. Sorry. Those golden eyes are back on me, and Adrian turns fully to face me, their lips pressed together as they fiddle with their sleeve. Thanks for... They lower their voice. For giving me space. You're welcome. They chuckle and run a hand through their hair, but I don't think it's as much of a nervous gesture as Adrian does. I don't see any tension in them. I glance behind their shoulder at Penny's office door. Utter silence from there, but is she really not listening in? I actually came here for a different thing. The man you asked after, They take a deep breath as though to steady themselves, but when I gesture at the empty chairs in my desk nearby, they shake their head. I've been seeing him in my dreams. What? I think back to the shadow looming over them in their bed, and it's almost too tempting to ask them to elaborate, but I manage to bite my tongue. Wait. No, elaborate, please. They look a bit like a scared deer right now, and I daren't waste this opportunity. Okay. Adrian gives me a sharp look. And to answer your question, no. I still do not know who he is, truly. He's just always there when I close my eyes. I didn't even think he was real, you know? Just a figment. They flushed and tuck a strand of hair behind their ear, averting their gaze briefly. A fantasy. Woo. They clear their throat and stand straight. It's worrying. You know it's worrying. Us, the two of us, people like us. We don't exactly dream of normal happy things, especially not down here, but this is different, something more. I just want answers as much as you do, so please. You look at me, waiting for an answer, I realize. I believe you. Adrian's golden eyes widen and they blink rapidly for a moment before smiling tentatively, like they're unsure if I'm being sarcastic. You do? They frown then, skepticism painted thick on their handsome face. For a moment, Adrian almost looks like they want to take a step back from me, toward the door, and I have to wonder if I'm seriously that threatening. I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but why would you trust me? Between kicking you out of my studio yesterday and... I know I haven't been acting the most trustworthy. I didn't say I trusted you. I believe you're also looking for answers, and maybe we can help each other out in that respect. Adrian's shoulders tense, then they sigh. Yeah, that's reasonable. Thank you. Do you want to sit down? Oh. Yeah, yes, maybe that'd be good. They give me a brief smile. The genuineness in it makes it hard for me to hang on to my suspicions. Skia aren't immune... Yay! Skia aren't immune to Siren's charms either, though. I smile back as polite as I can and offer Adrian a chair. He watches me while I try to get the mess on my desk into some semblance of order. Our meeting was cut short yesterday, but you had questions, didn't you? Just a few. But considering everything going on right now, we really appreciate anything you can give us, even if it's just a suspicion or a bad feeling. Adrian's lips tighten, but they nod. Is it the same dream every time? Of blue? Not always. Adrian's lips flutter, like the words forming on the tip of their tongue can't fully solidify. I watch them struggle with themselves for a moment, silently cursing myself for how unprepared we are to receive guests. What's even in this office to offer to drink? Penny will kill me if I share her booze. Well, yeah, I dream of him every time, but it isn't always the same dream. Sometimes I see him as though through a haze, like I'm inside a glass hallway looking out to sea into the dark. Sometimes he's too close. I can hear his voice. I can feel his breath on my skin. It isn't always bad. Adrian presses their lips together then, and I know they won't continue down that thought. I don't press for more information. For now. Any idea why you, or rather we, are seeing all this? Adrian shrugs, spreading their hands. Do visions ever have meaning? Forgive me. I mean, they do, but to find out what that meaning is... I've heard such quests drive people mad. Like this already isn't driving everyone crazy, myself included. They laugh, dryly. You're not the only one. For what it's worth, though, I do believe there's a connection between me and him, and now between you and all of this, whatever this is. Maybe it's worth chasing. It has to be. The last part they almost seem to say to themselves. I don't have the heart to disagree with them or comment on it. That's all for now, I think. Adrian nods, looking pensive. The sound of a door opening makes us jump. Penny appears, looking a lot like she's trying to pretend she wasn't listening on us. Another citizen with a thing for Blue Castor, huh? Adrian shifts in their seat uncomfortably under the weight of her accusatory gaze. I actually saw him last night, I think. They throw a pointed look at me, knowing I saw them, but managing to play it cool in front of Penny, which I'm thankful for. The figure outside the vanguard must have been blue. I tried to trail him, but he vanished, turned into the shadow of an alley, and was just gone. The weight of Penny's skepticism is almost a physical thing. Adrian tenses, hunching their shoulders, but they meet her gaze firmly. I searched for a while, but there was nothing, not even footprints on the ground where he should have stepped. It doesn't surprise me, he's a slippery bastard at the best of times. And where was this? Outside of the vanguard. That doesn't help us narrow it down, everybody in the city passes that way. But they do that for a reason. There are eyes and ears on the street and the shops lining it. The more Adrian tells me, the more that tar pit of worry that's been brewing in my stomach since the earthquake boils. Now, after everything, it makes me feel almost sick. I glance at the board again, at that picture of Egan Castor. One more missing among many, Blue Castor's own brother. I'll be honest, I haven't really asked around about Blue, I mean. It felt crazy, to me most of all. Can't blame you for that. Maybe I should spend the day asking around about this. Could be worth looking into. Penny is eyeing Adrian. Clearly she's not a fan, if not downright suspicious of them. They get up and clear their throat, fidgeting nervously. Maybe you should. For Adrian's benefit more than anything, the idea of getting out there right now feels better and better by the second. Between Adrian and I'm sure we'll find something. Adrian's an employee now, and what happens if you get into trouble? Then there's two of us? Penny's pale blue eyes swapped to me. Her look is so sharp that it could cut clean through the glass dome of the city. You better come back with something good. And if you even think you're in danger, you'd better get back to this office real fast. Understand? If you disappear on me, Kay. She doesn't finish. I'll be careful. After all, I've got work to finish. I glance at the pile of tapes still on my desk, and that at least gets a dry chuckle out of Penny. As I said, you better come back with something good. Vare? Yes, ma'am? Not a word of this to anyone outside of this office. She doesn't pose it as a question, but as an order. Flustered, Adrian offers her a curt nod. I edge open the door with a gesture for Adrian to follow me outside before Penny's gaze burns a hole in both of our skulls. It's another busy day in Styx. Adrian and I weave our way through the throngs of people in the streets below the ever-flashing neon signs that advertise every kind of business in Atrium. If you look carefully, the light in here shines outwards into the ocean beyond the glass dome, and you can make out the looming shadow of the seaweed forest. It makes me think of the tape I listened to this morning, how prophecy had supposedly been uncovered in the sea out on the coast of Greece, where we are right now, technically. I open my mouth, about to ask Adrian about it, when their shoulder bumps mine. Sorry about this. I should have probably found at least some useful information before coming to you. It's fine. Thanks for coming today at all. I wouldn't have wanted to set Penny on you. Adrian gives me a small, sheepish smile, but I shake my head. When it comes down to it, way fewer people know where or how to start asking questions without having some practice than you think. That's what working for Penny has taught me, among other things. I look around the streets, at the signs and the people, thinking. One shop window in particular immediately jumps out at me like it's been waiting there all along. Wait, this is where I saw him yesterday. What? Where? In there! I point at the killing moon. Instantly, Adrian's face brightens, before falling again. Oh, maybe it makes sense that he hangs out around Eve. You know them? Yeah, Eve's a good person, and their shop has a particular vibe to it. You don't get anywhere else in Styx. I'd like to visit whenever I need some inspiration. Since being in there makes it feel like nothing's real? I wouldn't say that. Well, not in a bad way, anyway. More like, you know how occult shops tend to be these dark and gloomy places that make you feel like you're just walking through one, like, just walking through one gets you cursed? Never mind that some people believe sirens visiting occult places is an ill omen. But the Killing Moon is like a souvenir shop. One where you can lose enough money to pay a week's rent if you're not careful. And you said you saw him there yesterday? Yeah, Eva's giving him a piece of their mind. Come on, I'll keep the hard sales off your wallet if you keep them off mine. Deal. With a grin, Adrian grabs the door handle and pulls it open. The shop feels the same as it did yesterday. The comfortable, if somewhat odd music, the bright interior. I glance at the shelves, wondering how much the shopkeeper has managed to sell to unsuspecting visitors today. There's no tall, dark, brooding man in here this time, and some part of me feels almost disappointed. Eve? Adrian walks up to the front counter and I follow them, my hand subconsciously going to my pocket where the piece of jet Eve gave me yesterday still sits. I can't even tell why I've kept it on my person. There's a sound of something crashing in the back. Adrian glances at me in concern, but a moment later the curtains part and the shopkeeper pokes their head out. Their face brightens instantly. I knew you'd stop by with such lovely company. Company you're already acquainted with, so I've heard. Eve beams and steps fully into the shop, waving their hands like they're gesturing for silence, even though neither Adrian nor I are saying anything. When I glance at Adrian, the only shrug and mouth, Eve being Eve. The shopkeeper taps their bottom lip thoughtfully as they stare Adrian down first, then me. You look a little peaky. Here, I know just the thing. They glide over to the nearest shelf, humming as they skim slender fingers over a selection of crystals. Adrian shoots me a despairing look. Actually, we just have some questions. Of course you do. Always with the questions, everyone in the city. They turn back to us, their white dress flaring around them, and present their find in a flourish. A crystal, this one lavender and gold. Quite beautiful and sizable enough to send someone to the doctor's clinic if thrown. The smile on Eve's face, sweet as it is, suggests this. Ametrine, for clarity and to help with procrastination. They tip their head, looking down their nose at Adrian as they sniff the air. Also good to scare away other unsavory things. Adrian's cheeks flare red. Yes, thank you. I clear my throat. So about the questions? Here to look for said unsavory thing, I assume? I begin to protest. I don't know Castor, but that seems like a mean thing to say about him. And decide against it. Do you know where he lives? And what was he doing here? Nope. And he always visits me. Never buys anything, though. Just wanders in here with those wide shoulders and the devil in his eyes. You know, that man has enough bad luck on him that I don't think all of the crystals in the shop could cleanse it out. And let me tell you, they're good quality crystals, too. Oh my god. She's my favorite. They're my favorite. Sorry, I just realized I had text messages. One was from my mom, is very important. Adrian glances at me for help. What was he here for, anyway? To ruin my day, what else? But I suppose it did bring you both back to my shop, so maybe I can't complain. Would it help if I buy one of those good quality crystals? That actually gets a little laugh out of them. I can also look at some of those crystals or any trinkets you might be interested in showing. Adorable creatures, the both of you. So this is what the barkeep must feel like all the time, huh? Customers wanting to buy things of their own free will? Revolutionary. No, thank you, though. Your desperation takes the fun out of bargaining. Now, have you know, I only offer things when a customer needs it. Saying this, they put the ametrine piece into Adrian's palm. With feeling. Anyway, Blue came here asking questions like he always does. Things the living can't answer. Questions about Styx mostly, but the type that aren't spoken of or written anywhere. I told him it's ghosts, both the living and the not, and he got all mean and irritated at me, saying I'm wasting his time. He was wasting my time! Rude bastard. I'm sorry to hear that, Eve. Adrian sounds genuine, like they're embarrassed that the evil and possibly tired man they've been dreaming of has been causing inconveniences to real people in the world. Nice ones like Eve. You said he was asking about Styx? Mm-hmm. I have a feeling he wouldn't like the answers I would have given him if he was being a little more polite anyway. They shrug. And then he stalks out, just like he always does, but not before you looked all out of sorts about him, I remember. He haunting you now, too? I glance at Adrian uncertainly. What can I say to that? How much should I tell this strange human? Eve is not human. Though something about the way they look at me, somehow both pointed and distant, gives me the eerie feeling that they see a lot more than I could ever put into words. Clearing my throat, Adrian steps forward. They fish out their wallet and count a few bills, laying them on the counter before picking up the ametrine. Thank you, Eve. You always have good intuition. You're right, and so do you. But you should listen to it more. Adrian's smile wavers, but they nod at me. I take them up on the tacit request to leave. Just as I was going to turn away, however. Have you tried the Vanguard? If it's gossip of the living you're after, bartenders are great for it. Oh, of course. Thank you, Eve. I mean it. Eve rolls her eyes and pats Adrian's arms before pointedly looking at me. Keep them out of trouble, will you? Adrian here is a very generous customer, and I would be upset if anything were to happen to them. Both of you keep out of trouble. Promise. To the Vanguard, then? Adrian nods. Despite just having opened for the day, the Vanguard Lounge still has a few patrons loitering around. But it's a different kind of atmosphere. At night, the lounge is bustling. The din of the people and the sound of the band are a constant dull roar. There seems to be a near constant haze of cigarette smoke that settles like fog. Now, the low hypnotic level of indistinct voices mingles with a sweet but forgettable song from the piano on the stage. It makes things feel a little surreal, like I've walked into another vision. The way Adrian's hand brushes at my arm, I think they might share my impression. I shake myself and go over to the bar. The person we're looking for is at least right here. It's Teddy! We get to see Teddy! Why couldn't we see him last time? I'm feeling loopy enough to try and give him a voice, so hold on. Well, hello. Didn't expect you to come in this early for a drink. Work got you in a bind? And he's blonde, who would have thought? Well, sort of. I slide into the chair in front of Teddy. After a moment, Adrian takes a seat as well. Glad to see some of my favorite clients making friends. What do you have? The usual? Hey, Teddy, and actually something non-alcoholic right now might be better. Of course, but I expect you to come back for the spiked version tonight. You know, we just came from Eve's and they aren't as much a hard sell as you. Ooh, high compliments. Same for you, Kay? Yeah, I'm on the clock. Teddy chuckles, a low and pleasant sound, and winks at us before he turns to get the drinks ready. Adrian leans over to me. Do you think there are patrons here who might have seen something too? Possibly. Let's split the work then? Who knows, I might even be acquainted with some of them. I nod and Adrian smiles. They get up with a light clasp to my shoulder and head over to the side of the room where the booths are occupied. I can't help but wonder suddenly if those people are even alive. There's plenty of talk of ghosts wandering the streets and the shops, and you're not supposed to talk to them, but it's not like I have any idea how to differentiate the dead from the living. A gentle clink of glass draws me back. Oh, where did they go? To ask your patrons some questions. Don't worry, they'll be right back. I actually have some for you too, if you don't mind. Teddy's eyebrow raises. He leans back and crosses his arm, but his expression is one of amusement. I appreciate you ordering a drink first, at least. That's a courtesy your boss never offers. What's going on? Do you know a guy named Blue Castor? Tall, pale, dark hair, handsome in a might be a serial killer way. Blue eyes that'll squint at you like you're a splat of something unpleasant on his shoes. Looks like he hasn't slept in years. I can sense the instant shift in Teddy's friendly demeanor, though he isn't as quick to his hesitance as Eve was to their disdain. He stares at the counter between us and shifts on his feet, and I have to wonder what the hell is going on around this blue man that people treat mentioning him like it's an ill fortune. That's quite the description. Scarily accurate, too. Maybe it is. Maybe that's why Adrian sees them in their dreams. Why he haunts them. Like a hammer, the tape from this morning pounds at the back of my skull. Prophecy. But it makes no sense. What prophecy? Why does it matter? That's a difficult question, you know? Teddy smiles at me hesitantly. I can almost sense the sorry, but I don't know much he's about to give me. Let's try a little sweet talk. I slide quietly and lean forward, my chin in my hand. I catch Teddy's gaze and hold it, raising an eyebrow. Won't you try for me, handsome? Hey now, you're very good at being nice and forceful, you know that? Should I take that for the compliment you're implying it is? I give him a wink for good measure and he laughs. It's a pleasant sound. Maybe I can stand to flirt for information again sometime. Blue, huh? Honestly, one of the few times I hear about the guy by name. He comes here often, though. He has a drink or two, sometimes finds some company for the night. I know what you're thinking, but those people are still around. I would have definitely noticed if someone didn't show. And, he rubs the back of his neck, his freckled cheeks flushing pink slightly. Well, I can vouch for him, I guess. I may have partaken. I lean back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. The poisonous coil of suspicion and doubt that's been quietly stewing away in the back of my mind starts relaxing a little. It's too early to say. Not every suspicion element is an answer. Penny drills that into me. But still, it's good to have this little affirmation. Sighing, I pick up my drink and down it. You know the type. He answers your questions with grunts and uses 3 words per answer, but he does tip very generously. And he's generous in other ways, apparently. I guess it is good to know he's decent to barkeeps, at least. Teddy flashes me a nervous grin, his cheeks still slightly pink. Though I'm sure most would find it hard to look at your face and not share their dress. Oh, really? Would you happen to be that kind? I fish my wallet out, pull out a piece of paper and a pen, and scribble my address on it. I fold it into a little square and pass it along to Teddy. Grinning, he takes it and slips it into his pocket. For safekeeping, I'm sure. Sweet talking. You know, you might want to ask Miss Seymour. You might have been introduced as Calliope. The songbird? Maybe she knows something. I didn't know she'd be in this early. Aren't her shows only late at night? Teddy shrugs. I think she likes the quiet in the back. Maybe she likes to be thoroughly prepared. Either way, she's here now if you won't talk to her. Is that alright? Oh, I'd say she'd welcome the distraction and take the drink for Adrian. Just tell them to bring the glass back. Thanks, Teddy. I mean it. He pats his pocket then, the one where my address is safely tucked away. If you're ever bored or lonely, just, I grin. Smiling at him, I take both drinks and hurriedly go find Adrian, who is already coming back toward me. Judging from the look on their face, they didn't hear anything worthwhile. They accept the drink from my hand with a small smile, though the golden eyes seem far away. So apparently, Blue is a frequent visitor here. He, tips well. That's more than what I have. People notice he's here, I think, but they shrug a little helplessly. I clasp their shoulder and steer Adrian towards the back door, through which I've seen Callie take Penny last night. Well, we might have someone else to ask that question. Do you know the songbird? Callie? Of course. I usher them out back. Callie's dressing room is decked out, but it's also less opulent than I expected. She radiates such a strong, confident aura that I assumed that her quarters would be just as dazzling to match. The songbird herself smiles at us from where she sits at the dressing table. She's exchanged her stage outfit for a bathrobe, but something about her bearings makes me stand straighter all the same. Well. When I asked Teddy for something sweet to be sent to my room, I didn't think he'd take it so literally. Adrian has turned a bit red. They glance at me helplessly, and I can't do much besides patting them on the back. Be strong, Adrian. It doesn't help that Callie laughs to sound rich and pleasant. Where are my manners? It's nice to meet you. And nice to see you again, Kay. Adrian seems to come back to himself, offering her their hand in a pretty smile. Adrian Navarre. I accompany Kay here today because we're looking for somebody. We were hoping you could help us if you have some time. Oh, I would certainly hope to know the famous Adrian Navarre. Some of your artworks were on display in the gallery in Elysium a few months ago, no? They were quite lovely. Oh, thank you, Miss Seymour. You're most welcome. I remember being quite impressed with your brushstrokes and sense of colors in particular. Bold, eye-catching. Quite like the artist who put them to canvas, barging into my room in pursuit of answers. Now Adrian is really blushing. Despite the lightness of Callie's tone, they turn to me with big, imploring eyes. We're gonna go playful. I smile reassuringly and clasp Adrian's shoulder, though my eyes are still on Callie. Maybe I should lay down a bit thicker distractor. I'm a little jealous of all that praise you're ravishing them with. Just a little? You're an individual in high demand, sweetheart. I apologize if I've overstepped. Oh, no, it's alright. It just caught me off guard, was all. Adrian clears their throat. They're ready to get back to the matter at hand, I can tell. But I can also see their mouth twitching, a smile threatening to break through their concern. Callie only grins, leaning her chin on her hand. Well now, out with it. What's got you here looking to chat? We're looking for a man named Blue Castor. We spoke to Teddy and some patrons, but nobody seems to know where he is, only that he visits often. As someone who's here every night, we were wondering if perhaps you have any ideas? Callie purses her lips. She taps a finger to the corner of her mouth for a moment, considering. I don't want to say that Adrian and I hold our breaths, but I'm pretty sure we both do exactly that. I know the man. Tall, dark-haired, and blue-eyed, sullen. He's always been a handsome addition to Teddy's nightly patrons, but almost amusingly repellent to any attempts at socializing, I should say. Unless it's on his terms. Yeah, we got that impression. I don't know why, but the others we've asked don't seem to like talking about him. You mentioned you've got a knack for knowing folks in the city, so do you have any idea why people might act like that? Color me flattered that you remember our brief talk so well. Don't worry though, Styx is a nice, friendly city. People here like their secrets and privacy, but you're supposed to at least be cordial with your fellows. But that's not the case with Mr. Castor. If he doesn't care for you, he'll make damn sure you know it. Callie chuckles, and I wonder if she's saying that from real experience. He comes in quite late at night, probably an hour before closing. His tips keep his name out of the servers' mouths, I imagine. And he usually leaves with some company, something pretty to take home. Mr. Castor is either not interested in me or can't afford to risk me opening my mouth about him afterward. so I've never been a candidate to be one of those pretty things. She narrows her eyes as I nod along, staring at me with a sharp kind of focus. Too smart for her own good, I think. You think Castor has something to do with all of this? The missing people? The murders? Nothing's concrete, but for what it's worth, I don't think so. Still, I think he's connected to something. I glance at Adrian, who presses their lips together. They gave me a doubtful look. Maybe I'm saying too much, but then Callie is an informant, so whetting her appetite with morsels of information are surely the key to her heart. Well, it's better to be vigilant, I suppose. I do love poking around people's business from time to time. If you hear anything else in the future, could you let us know? Well, let Kay know, I suppose. You're asking for favors there, sweetheart. Those don't come for free, you know. Well, it depends on whether or not Penelope is with you next time. Callie winks, showing us she's only teasing, but the gleam in her eyes makes me think I really should bring Penny next time. Not that I think Penny herself would mind. I think back to last night when she was all flustered and cranky with Callie and how it was probably the first time I saw her anything but stressed. That reminds me. We've taken enough of your time, but I glanced at Adrian hesitant. Not that I mind them being around when I'm gathering information, but considering what I'm going to bring up. He seemed to get it. Smiling, Adrian nods. I have a client I've kept waiting, I'm afraid. I'd better go see to them. Thank you for indulging us, Miss Needler. You're welcome, but please call me Callie. I'd say discussing murderers and missing people means we can ditch the formalities, right? Right, yes, of course. Callie. With a grin, Adrian sketches a slight and elegant bow and slips out the door. They mouth, "Talk to you later," at me, and I can't do anything but nod before they have disappeared. I know I call a lot of people sweetheart, but that is a whole sweetheart. Callie smiles and rests her chin in her hand, smiling at me. Now that we are alone, something in the air feels different. The way she looks at me, the smile itself, sharper, more openly inquisitive. I get the feeling she's been as polite as she possibly can while being herself until now, for Adrian's sake. But as for me, clearly, that's not necessary. Now that we have some privacy, Kay, what's really on your mind? This morning, Penny mentioned you might know someone who saw Blue Castor and his brother arguing a few nights ago. I was wondering if you would be so kind as to share? Callie raises one eyebrow, then the other one. Not gonna lie, I was hoping Pen herself would come back and continue that conversation with me. But since you've taken the hook instead, Kay, do let me know what compensation I'll receive for sharing that morsel. I've given you quite a lot of answers, all in the house already, no? Slowly, deliberately, I take a step closer to her. She watches me with golden eyes, her plush lips curved in a beautiful but wicked smile. Her full lashes spare me nothing of her piercing gaze. Anything you want. You've been quite generous already, like you said. Within reason. Anything, Callie leans back and laughs. The sincerity and plain amusement in her voice makes my heart suddenly beat faster. Too fast. I did say within reason, but if there's anything I can do for you, then just say the word. Tempting me with things I can't resist. A favor. Callie's eyes sparkle. Her smile widens, but her expression is still soft. She taps her chin in thought. A few nights ago, our pianist saw the Castor brothers arguing with each other. I don't know the other Castor as well, but I know him by his appearance. He's less sharp around the edges, handsome in the movie star way instead of the dangerous way. She shrugs, lips pursed. I force myself to stay on track with her words. I pat myself down for something to write with, and fish a pen and notebook from one of my pockets. Penny and her lectures about always having a paper and pen around pay off. Buy Panic for sure. For sure. I don't know how I'm going to get through the rest of this game when it's fully out. Just sounds like a good old-fashioned brotherly love to me. I didn't inquire any further. Hard feelings around here rolling under this idyllic atmosphere. Callie looks past my shoulder, her gaze a million miles away, like she can at once see all the souls out on the streets, all the flashing neon lights. The pianist also mentioned them storming off toward Asphodel. Beats me if he was just walking off steam or if he really had business in that direction. She shrugs. Asphodel. Not that this narrows down a lot, but at least it narrows down something. And if what Callie says is true, there's bound to be more people who saw them. I breathe a small sigh of relief. Finally. A crumb. Thank you, Callie. Now I really do have to get ready for my day. I nod frantically, stowing away my pen and paper again, but Callie only laughs and shakes her head. I'm not kicking you out, sweetheart. I'm just saying. I wish we had a little more time by ourselves. It's been nice keeping your company with some privacy like this. Next time we meet, I hope you have a concrete idea of within reason. She winks, and this time I can't help but smile. Callie holds out her hand then. I take it. I'll look forward to your request, Miss Seymour. See you later? Count on it. I make sure not to trip over her door's threshold when I see myself out. Well, so much for that. I'm sorry to drag you on this wild goose chase, Kay. We learned some things, such as how many people don't like Blue and how others really like him. Adrian laughs again, more lighthearted this time, and I can't resist smiling myself. They grin at me, all sharp teeth. Then how about this? Thanks, Kay, for listening to me, and for trying. Something still doesn't sit right. I don't know if he's just elusive, or if he's... They shake their head. If we can't find him, then I can at least maybe ask around and see what others know. It's okay, you do what you gotta do. How much money have you got? Let's go to the killing moon again. We'll split it. 6 crystals for you, 6 crystals for me. I think I'm gonna see if I can make it through this demo, or at least until there's... I'll answer your question in a minute. Let me get to like a natural stopping point. Shh, don't say that here. What if it summons Eve and they start collecting right where we stand? They say that, but I honestly wonder if Eve ever actually leaves their shop. They make me think of a spirit, one of those bound to a place of significance, doing what they always do best. You're right. I'll do the same. If I learn anything else that might be valuable, can I contact you about it? Adrian nods, their smile wry. You know where I live? Or we can meet here, maybe, or somewhere else? I'm sorry, but your boss kind of scares me. Oh, yeah. I can't tell Adrian she's harmless because that's not true. They seem to know it and chuckle, clasping my arm. I've got my own clients. I've kept waiting, so I'll have to go for now. Talk to you later? Certainly. Adrian smiles again, though they stare over my shoulder at nothing, worry plain on their face. But they see themselves out. I blink owlishly at the bright neon lights as I step back out into the atrium. Adrian is long gone. Instinctively, I look towards the side of the street where I saw them last night chasing Blue, but he's not there. Nor are they. Of course not, that would make shit easy. Not that I would know what to do if he was here. I don't notice the figure coming toward me until I almost walk into him. Hey! Archie! Sorry. Archie takes a step back and waves his hand, though for a moment I'm not sure if he's waving aside my apology or if he's trying to ward me off like a bad omen. He blinks, then adjusts his glasses and smiles. No, I'm the one who should be sorry. 4 eyes and still can't see, apparently. Are you alright? Of course. What makes you say that? Archie raises an eyebrow. I glance at their shop window, wondering what he's seeing. Oh. Huh. Yeah, maybe I do look a little peaky. Penny's not overworking you, is she? There's a sincerity to his tone that feels warm in my chest. It's nice to feel that down here in the Styx, especially from someone I don't know particularly well. And again, it could just be the fact that his job is to be empathetic, but I don't think that's the case. She isn't, but thank you for asking. If you're worried about me, you should see her. I can imagine. Archie's face tells me he can, but doesn't want to. More striking is that the concern is genuine, and how much of it weighs in his expression. Don't worry. She's got me now, remember? You're right, she does. I leave things in your capable hands. He nods mock solemnly, though his smile takes away any sting his words might have. Almost involuntarily, I feel myself a little more relaxed. What are you doing out here? Were the tapes I gave you not enough to work with? Oh, they're more than enough, thanks. I mean it. If you find any more, bring them over, but please. Archie laughs, shaking his head. I have more. Of course I have more. My old man was someone who liked to talk. I nod, but my mind is drifting back to this morning, to the one tape I have had a chance to listen to. Your father, was he an archaeologist? Instantly, Archie's friendly demeanor sinks. Not too much that I curse myself for asking him a question, but his lips still thin and his jaw still stiffens. He shifts on his feet, taking a half step away from me, and okay, I do regret saying anything. I'm sorry, just forget about it. No, it's fine. You would be a poor investigator if you didn't ask questions that put people in a little ill at ease, right? Well, that's more Penny's job. I'm just supposed to be transcribing tapes. He raises an eyebrow and gives me a once-over. Point taken. I'm not sitting at Penny's office working on that, but how was I supposed to know this would be such a wild goose chase? I set out with Adrian this morning thinking we had a lead. If we all did what we're supposed to do, I don't think anything would have ever gotten done. Nothing meaningful, anyway. That was what my father was looking for. Archie takes a few steps away and inclines his head, and I follow him to a quieter corner of the street. With a flush of embarrassment, I realize we have been talking while standing around in front of the shops. Not that the citizens seem to even realize we're there. Does anyone realize anyone's here, or is it all a pleasant dream in the city until a body shows up, mutilated and wrecked? To answer your question, no. He wasn't an archaeologist. I'll be honest, I don't know what he was really looking for. Maybe that's why he never found it, even at the end of his life. I'm sorry to hear that. You're kind to say that, but don't be. It's hard missing someone who was barely ever there. Archie smiles, but there's a slight bitter twist to it. May I also be candid with you? Of course. I can't say I know Penny that well. She gets annoyed by people like me, I think, but I do know she's a very focused and ferociously effective detective. For her aide to be running around while there's potentially still important work to be done, work that could lead to answers, you must be on a mission yourself. But you're not asking me about the tapes, you're asking about my father. You'll have to help me out here. What is it that you're really trying to find out? All this is said cordially, but Archie is watching me with sharp eyes. Penny had me listen to one of the tapes you dropped off this morning. It was very odd. I just happened to remember it when we were talking. It mentioned some ruins where your father hoped that clues to a prophecy of some kind were found on the surface. It doesn't seem were found. Period. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the cases, but I don't know. Call it instinct, I suppose. It just grabbed at me, something about it. Oh, I think I know the tape in question. Archie scratches his chin thoughtfully. So you're wondering what my dear old dad was doing, fussing around ancient underwater ruins and talking about prophecies? It's not even that. As I said, I don't even know why I'm asking about it so much. And why not? It's most likely important. Your subconscious might know this, even if your conscious thought grapples with the why. Archie shrugs easily, though he purses his lip in thought. There's a gleam to his eyes. Clearly, he's getting interested in this too. I don't know how I feel about that. Our conscious processing accounts for so little of our perception of the world that it's laughable. I'd sleep on it. Literally. Unlike humans, siren-blooded individuals are more in tune with the part of their brain they don't think with. Right. Not that I want to dream right now, but maybe Archie's onto something there. Maybe I do need to dream, to see. To not only see Bluecaster, but also the path that leads to him. I shouldn't keep you. Or myself, for that matter. What was I even out here for? Oh, right, the supplies. No, it's fine. I'm just on my way back to the office to tell Penny I didn't find anything. Hours spent with the lake crumbs to show for it. I'm sure Penny will love that. I'm starting to wonder if I wouldn't have made better progress just sitting there listening to the tapes. I'll drop by Scott and Sinclair with something nice for you later. How about that? As a thank you for hardworking detectives who help keep our fair city safe, or, well, our detective and her able assistant. Wait, that reminds me. Why did Penny ask to borrow those tapes from you, Archie? Were they all your father's research? I was only able to listen to that first one, but are they all on the subject of Styx? As many as I can find, yes. Observations on the city and so on. I think Penny thinks the city itself might be involved in this. A conspiracy? No, something more archaic. He looks around us as he says so, and I follow his gaze. But Archie isn't looking at anything in particular. Just everything. The streets, the people, the neon light signs, and the dome overhead, shadows of the kelp forest looming. There seems to be something churning in the underbelly of it all, setting things in motion and sweeping us in its current. There's always a sense of pressure in Styx, one I'm becoming more familiar with. I just chalk it up to water pressure, but admittedly, it sometimes feels more than that. Eerier, closer. I look at the shadowed parts of the street uneasily. Archie's tone makes me think he says the city and means it as an entity. And the meaningful way he's looking at me confirms it, but he doesn't repeat it out loud. Maybe that's for the best. I probably best get back to those tapes. Of course. Still, I can't say I don't feel a bit better after he's gone. Some small thing to look forward to, perhaps, and maybe Penny would appreciate it too. The smell of smoke and cheap booze is still in the air when I open the door again. Everything is exactly where I left it, including Penny. She's leaning on the doorframe of her office, arms crossed, her eyes on that damn board and all the papers and missing posters on it. I follow her gaze to the mess of red strings and mysteries, wondering what she sees. I'm almost afraid to make a noise and interrupt her thoughts. What if she is seeing something? But she sighs, shoulders drooping then straightening. She swears again, the profanity muttered this time, and pats her pockets. Looking for a cigarette, probably. So since you're not exactly bursting at the seams with news, I'm guessing you have any to share? I didn't find Castor, if that's what you're asking. Penny frowns at me. That much of a mystery man. Didn't think it'd be so hard to find someone who makes most people who come into contact with him rue the experience. I shrug wearily and go back to my desk. The paper sitting in the typewriter stares up at me, incomplete mid-sentence. It feels both like hours and like no time has passed at all. What about the artist? Navarre? They're okay. Penny clicks her tongue impatiently and drags a chair up next to me. She drops her whole weight into it, then takes a deep breath. I look at her and notice, for the first time, that she's clutching a small pile of Polaroids in an almost white-knuckled grip. New evidence? These? No. Stay focused. Penny dips her chin slightly, but her gaze is fixed on the table. I have a feeling she's staring far past that, at nothing. Adrian came to us after I asked, at least. I suppose he did. It's a lot more than I've gotten from most people. Penny lifts the Polaroids in her hands and stares at them. I don't like how defeated and tired she seems, almost hopeless. Wordlessly, she sets them on the desk between us. I see a glimpse of her face and Annie's before Penny seems to think better of it and swipes them back up. I can't stop thinking about her today, for some reason. Maybe she's haunting me? She can't haunt you if she's still alive. I'm starting to think maybe she's not so alive anymore. Penny gets up and moves back over to the board. Carefully, she shifts Egan's poster aside so that once again, Annie's own missing poster shows prominently. Someone like her doesn't just go missing, not without putting up one hell of a fight. I wouldn't bet on her having lost that fight. She snorts and throws me a look over her shoulder, but I think I see a glimpse of a smirk. Penny returns to her seat by my desk. This time, when she sets the Polaroids down, she leaves them there, but I glance at her before reaching for them anyway. At her curt nod, I pick them up and look through them. They really are pictures of her and Annie, the young, confident duo. Their smiles so bright and sharp. I don't doubt I would have found them both to be quite intimidating if I had known them then. If I had known both at all. Ooh. We have backstory. When I left school, I got stuck working the graveyard shift at a mortuary in Brooklyn. I always wanted to help people, but I've never been all that fond of being around them, so I settled for helping the dead. Annie would come in to identify bodies and get reports for her cases. You know, the usual detective shit. I was always so in awe of her. She was such a force to be reckoned with, always surrounded by swaths of arrogant men who thought they knew better, and yet she commanded every room she walked into. I think she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. Annie gave me her card one night and told me to call her if I ever fancied getting out of this rotten basement and onto the streets. Told me my talents were wasted being elbow deep in torsos. She quit working for the police department to open up a private agency, and my work with forensics was appealing to her. I was always content with the idea of making a living cutting up bodies or taking photos of brains splattered on the sidewalks. But she showed me that there was more for me. She taught me so much, and we were unstoppable together. We put away more criminals than I can count, and I felt like I was making a difference for once in my life. There's a pause there. I look up from the Polaroids and find Penny staring at them in my hands, arms crossed and expression dark. Annie started being a liaison for people coming here too. An old colleague of hers got sent here on witness protection after getting into some particularly nasty trouble up on the surface. He would smuggle letters to Annie with supply deliveries or new arrivals. She thought he was talking shit for a good while, and so did I. When some guy who you thought was long dead writes to you and tells you there's a secret city under the ocean, you laugh it off, right? We got caught up in a bad case with bad people. People who can make everything you've ever worked for disappear in a heartbeat. I almost died because of them. They burned our office to the ground and got trigger happy over some petty dispute. Organized crime is a real bitch, you know? They said they'd kill us and our families if we ever stepped foot in New York again. We were the only ones who ever came close to shutting them down, and they would have followed through on that threat without blinking an eye. She takes a sharp breath that still shudders just a little at the end, then lets it out slowly and leans her elbow on my desk, her hands knitted together. I wonder if she does it so she wouldn't fidget or reach for a smoke. We had no choice but to go missing ourselves, so we smuggled our sorry asses down here, and that was that. My family thinks I'm dead, and Annie doesn't have a family besides little old me. Penny chuckles. The sound doesn't get past her lips, reverberating instead somewhere in her throat and her lungs. In a sudden blinding moment, I see her grief for what it is. Now she's gone. Fucking gone. After all we've been through. This office meant for two, now with only her here. Alone, a mystery that should have been shared, would have surely been nowhere near unsolvable in the face of Annie and Penny's well-oiled partnership. Even, I'm only a stranger of opportunity. Nothing quite chases away the loneliness that haunts every surface, every particle in Scott and Sinclair investigations. I know I'm only here as your assistant, which I'm happy to do, of course, but still, Penny, you know I'm here, right? For you? Penny lifts her head. For a moment, we lock eyes. I can't tell what she's thinking. There are a million things the look on her face could be. Trepidation? The urge to scoff? Even possible gratitude? Is she about to snort at me and tell me to get back to work instead of saying wishy-washy things? Well, I won't blame her for that, but in the end, Penny only lets out a breath I didn't know she'd been holding, and hearing it makes me let out the one I didn't know I'd been holding either. Yeah, guess you are. Stuck with me, huh? My dependable, hardworking lackey. What do you mean I'm lackey? I'm putting all my drinks on your tab now. Like you haven't already been doing that? Well, you keep paying it. Penny rolls her eyes, but I don't miss the way the corners of her mouth twitch. I grin, relieved. It's good to have her spirit back, just a little. But then she's immediately scowling. Oops, there's the rest of her. Ugh. Penny leans back in the chair and runs her hands through her hair, then scrubs at her face vigorously. And now I've said too much. You don't respect me anymore, do you? Why would you ever think that? She puts all four of her chair's legs down again and levels me with a look. I stare right back, stubborn. Then Penny looks away. Thanks, Kay. I mean it. You're welcome. And I mean that too. Penny reaches over and gives my arm a light tap, then gets up. She goes to the board again, arms crossed. It's a moment of silence where I can almost hear the cogs in Penny's knife-sharp mind whir. I want you to stay on Castor's case. He's the last person who saw Egan, so at the very least he'll be a valuable witness. Trust your instincts, Kay. If they say you're gonna find this guy, then do it. Just don't put yourself in danger, you hear? Got it, boss. And you look like shit. Wow, thanks, boss. Feels special hearing that from you. I tap the corner of my eye and Penny scowls at me. It has the effect of making her own eye bags look especially prominent. Yeah, well, I'm the only one around here allowed to have these. Got it? Shaking my head, I turn back to the typewriter and the tapes. Despite what she said, my run-in with Archie is making me wonder if I shouldn't try to listen to at least a few more. Either way, the one I heard this morning isn't leaving me. Go ahead, I'll lock up after you. Just another hour at most, I promise. Penny frowns. For a second, I think she's really gonna see me out of here with the business end of her high heels applied to my ass, but then she sighs. Ran out of water. 1 hour. I nod as many times as it takes to be convincing. Penny glares at me the whole way out anyway as she grabs her coat and gathers her things. I know she's not going to get much sleep tonight, and neither am I. Might as well get something in, right? But then she's gone. The silence feels different, even lonelier, if that was possible. I try to turn on a tape, but the words don't register no matter how many times I play it. Frustrated, I get out of my chair and I go to the board myself. Red strings, connections that lead to nowhere, or in circles. Where did you all go? The missing posters, of course, don't answer. I want to see... Uh-huh. What's this? Auto saves? Quick saves? Cool. What's this history button? Oh, it's everything! Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, okay. Focusing. Styx isn't a city that understands the concept of night, but I can tell it's late by how much emptier the streets are when I finally close up and step outside. That and some of the neon signs have either dimmed or been switched off. It's eerie. In times like these, the reality that we're under the sea sinks in, and I shudder involuntarily. Skias can't transform, not like sirens can. We're made up of the sea, but not enough to become part of it. Skias exist in this in-between of earth and ocean, of human and siren. The waves call for us, but we can never fully be submerged. If the glass shatters, we still drown. And beyond the dome, the inky depths of the ocean and the towering spires of the seaweed forest loom. Okay, stop thinking about it. Even the sound of my own voice feels weird, almost invasive in this thick silence. Better get going. It's about the right time of night. The vanguard is bustling with its usual crowd, and Callie's already on stage. By force of habit, I almost go over to one of the booths and order a drink and dinner. But I can't. I have a purpose here tonight. Teddy is busy with a gaggle of tipsy patrons, so I find my own seat, at the bar, with the best view of the entire lounge. How lucky it would be if Blue Castor was here tonight, though I have to say I'd be kind of miffed if Adrian and I spent our entire day looking for him and then he just casually shows up for a drink. You know, like a normal person. Wearily, I rub out my eyes in an effort to keep them open. Normal people don't appear in visions. Have I been stupid this whole time? It's more between Adrian and him, right? What questions do I even have for him anyway? There's a gentle clinking of ice and glass, and I open my eyes to see my usual order sitting in front of me. Teddy, already walking away to serve another, throws me a knowing wink over his shoulder. I smile at him, then pause. It's him. Even from this distance, I can tell the mood around him is dark. He's taken the opposite corner of mine from the bar, head down, so that I can only see the grim line of his mouth and his curtain of ink-black hair if I squint. Oh, you know we got to. Well, here goes nothing. I grab my drink, get up, and go over to him. My heart beats like a drum in my ears. I still don't know what I want to ask him, whether or not I should even bring up Adrian, but I have to do something to confirm maybe that he's really who I saw. But he sees me first, and instantly, it's like storm clouds closing over his expression. I take a seat next to him at the bar anyway, trying to smile. You know, I'm having kind of a bad day, so I'm not looking for company tonight. I can't help but give him an astounded look. Well, maybe we can drown in our misery together. I hope that didn't come out as cranky as I thought it sounded. Since we keep running into each other, might as well. I'm not interested in a meet and greet. His eyes sweep over me, cold and cutting, and deeply suspicious. Then he meets my eyes fiercely, and I know what he's looking at. That shade of gold. Blue's lips twitch then, strangely, like he might speak. I force myself not to drop my gaze like I normally would. Who are you, anyway? Kay Smith. Nice to meet you. That makes him snort, but it's not quite a laugh. The mood doesn't get any lighter either, which at this point is just impressive. Abruptly, Blue knocks back his glass of booze and drinks it all in 3 gulps. He slams the glass back on the counter, slips a generous amount of money under it, and quickly heads out. I let him go. What good is it to try and stop him? But a few seconds after the door has swung shut, I get up. Blue is strangely difficult to keep track of in the streets. When he passes under the lights, it's easy enough, but whenever he steps into the shadows, I almost lose sight of him. Once or twice, I think I do lose him, save the sound of his footsteps. Faint, but steady enough. Fighting my conscience every step of the way isn't fun either. Why am I, the serial killer we're looking for, stalking a stranger home? I tell myself it's the only way I can find a solid place to see him, and maybe I'll even apologize later. Eventually, mercifully, we're at the entrance to Asphodel. Call Center of Cthulhu. Now, I love that. What a cute little thing. I watch Blue turn in the tunnels and nearly gasp loud enough to be discovered when a shadow launches itself into him, slamming him to the wall. No, not a shadow. Adrian. There's a sickening thud where Blue's back hits bricks, emphasized in the silence. But he doesn't seem upset, not like Adrian is. They stare at him, their chest heaving, where they try to catch their breath. Their jaws clenched so tight, I'm sure they're going to bare their teeth at him. Neither of them have noticed me yet, and I don't know if I want them to. This is Adrian, sweet, shy, earnest artist I worked with this morning. You. I didn't think you were real. Blue, meanwhile, only sighs. Sheer condescension. Give me a second. I'm finding it. Condescension in it would have made me forgive Adrian for ripping his throat out. and losing our only lead. You look even prettier in person. No! No! Oh, it was so good! It was so good! Ah! Mwah! Okay, so thoughts. I don't know if I have a favorite quite yet, because I really love everybody. Now I know that this isn't finished, so I'm not gonna note the editing, the spelling mistakes, and all that, because that's fucking stupid. Plotline, love it. Love it. I need it. I am so excited for this to be voice acted. Like, holy shit. Oh my god. And that was a solid, like, 2.5 hours. Probably a little less than that because I was reading out loud. It's a solid, like, I think this is the second demo. Hold on, let me pull up the email real quick. Oh, I still have it up. Let's see. This is, hold on. It's an extended demo. It includes the 2 prologues and the entirety of Act 1 for both the human and the Skia. So, I think what I might do, I'm going to put this on, I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and then I think I might also play the human one on my own, and then maybe also upload it to YouTube. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, that was Call Me Under, the demo. So flipping good. Holy smokes. It is out right now. Let me... You know what? I'll just... When I post this on YouTube, I'll drop the links in the description. I've never posted anything to YouTube, so this will be my first YouTube video, so that's exciting. But yeah, that is all I had for stream today. But, before I am going to go buy all of their stuff now because I'm super interested in it. I want to try raiding somebody. It's really enjoyable. I need to sit with my thoughts for a little bit. I will probably play this a couple more times just to really, like, solidify them, but I genuinely enjoyed this first playthrough. And I especially enjoyed walking into it completely, like, ignorant of it. I just saw it on Kickstarter. I was like, hey, that sounds like something I would love to do, and toss the money at it. So I will also be, hopefully, spending some money on the other games that they have. BT Dubs, Arlo was streaming one of their games yesterday, and they are going to continue streaming their game. So there's that. And then tomorrow is Cattails. The Cattails demo is out, which I'm super excited for. Can't wait for that. We'll be. I'm still torn on streaming it or putting it on YouTube, but I think I'll stream it and then just put it on YouTube too. But yeah, that's it. So we're gonna go raid, Nick, who is, my favorite, and I think you would also super enjoy her. I will still try and do my regular Friday stream. We'll go back to Sunhaven, I think. Thank you so much, and we are going to go, Nick is playing Breath of the Wild, so we're gonna go watch her play Breath of the Wild, because it is hilarious. Thank you. Have a good night. Drink lots of water. Don't forget to leave cookies out for Santa tomorrow. Mwah.